/overdose.
NFL Wildcard Weekend is here. That's right, it has arrived. And the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers, join today to get started with $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code PLAY. So don't miss out. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, and West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming and Kansas or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Here's what's happening with the Fan.
Catch another Bud Light Blue Friday with JMB 3 to 6 at Manly's Irish Mutt. Enter the football toss and you could be the next fan to win a pair of tickets to see the Colts take on the Texans. Think you have the best sports trivia knowledge? Listen to Kevin and Query from 7 to 10 a.m. and call into the pop quiz for your chance to win a signature Jiffy Lube oil service. And tune into the ride with JMV from 3 to 6 this week. You could win 2 tickets to see Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top on Sunday, August 20th at Ruoff Music Center.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
On 93.5
watch it.
And 107.5.
Boom, baby.
The Fan.
Well, this one, according to plan, we started the air and neither of us had headsets that worked. So that was...
It's the way it goes.
Off to a roaring start.
And I've been here for a while, about 15 minutes. Good morning to you on a Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday. That was the voice of Marc Dykton. My name is Jake Query. Kevin Bowen down in Florida for the next couple of days. So Sam Fritz slides into the pilot seat of the Millennium Falcon. Marc Dykton slides into Kevin's, and I sit where I normally do, where there are no headsets on a Wednesday. It's Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Good morning. A lot to talk about this morning is Mark and I were just kind of going over really kind of a 50-50 in terms of the Pacers to talk about. There's obviously always Colts news to talk about. I have a couple of interesting theories to get to regarding the Colts, or perspectives, I guess you'd say. One of the things, Mark, I was thinking about, and this is a little outside the box.
Coming from you, that shocks me.
I know. But I thought about this as I drove in this morning. And I know why it is. I understand why it is. But a huge kudos and a huge credit goes to one of our local teams. One of our local teams, in the way that you probably would least expect, gets huge credit for the following reason. When I was a kid, I remember in 1983, I'm too young to remember 76. Well, let me take that back. I recall kind of the hub around 76, but I didn't really grasp what was going on. But by 83, I remember well playing basketball at the Jordan YMCA, and my dad and the guy that coached our team saying, like, how about Indiana, ranked number 1 in the country? And that was such a big deal to me. Like, Indiana, the state where I lived, was ranked number 1 in the country. Mm-hmm. And then in 87, Indiana flirted with being number 1. They went to number 1 Iowa. The number 1 ranking meant so much to me. In 89, they got up to number 2, and I just was thrilled by it. Then in 93, they were number one for the vast majority of the season, and I think a lot of Indiana fans still clamor. Last night I'm at the Pacer game, and there's Calbert Chaney working for the Pacers, and I'm like, man, how many people in this building just probably don't even realize Calbert Chaney's here would still fawn over Calbert Chaney because he was the captain of a number one ranked team in the land, and then Oladipo when they were number one. And here we have a team that very little was expected of over the course of the college basketball season that has ascended to the number one ranking in the country. And with Purdue, we're just like, oh, yeah, Purdue's undefeated, number one. Okay, whatever. It's a remarkable accomplishment. They are, at this point, their resume clearly is as good, if not better, than anyone's in college basketball for this season. And I think it's a huge kudos to Purdue, not just because they're ranked number one, but because we're not stunned by this. Regardless of the fact that they lost a lottery pick to the NBA in Jaden Ivey, they lost a really good player, around him in the interior, and yet they just plug and replace, and here they are, unbeaten and number one. I mean, granted, they don't play again until, Thursday night, tomorrow night against Florida A&M?
Mm-hmm.
But still, just sitting as an unbeaten number one team in the country, and we don't even talk about it. I mean, we're guilty of it, too. I'm guilty of it. It's unbelievable. If I'm a Purdue fan, literally, I'm waking up every morning like, my college basketball team is the number one team in the country, and no one's talking about it. I'm sorry. I know it's tough for Indiana fans to realize, but Indiana's trying to find their footing, and Purdue's number one in the land.
I think Purdue. A lot of people thought Purdue was going to be in a transition year because they lost so many people. Now they're number one again. I think it might be due to where it's currently at in the college basketball season. We're still very early on, and I think a lot of people are still in football mode and whatnot.
I understand that. I get that.
So I could see why that gets a little bit swept under the rug. But yeah, they've off to a great start. Obviously undefeated. Florida A&M tomorrow, and then the Big Ten schedule gets underway once we flip the calendar to 2023 when they take on Rutgers on January 2nd. But yeah, great start for Purdue. I hope they can keep it up. It'll be fun to last if they can get it all the way to March and whatnot, and let that stuff ride.
So you had mentioned, Mark, that you watched the Pacers game last night. Pacers, yes. An impressive win over the Atlanta Hawks. Impressive because, those are two teams with virtually identical records. But Indiana coming off a back-to-back, so that's always impressive when you can do that. But what that means is you didn't see, and I'm not certain what he was doing when he missed the free throw intentionally, the ball caromed to him, and he hit a shot to force overtime at the buzzer en route to a 60-point, 21 rebound, 10 assist, triple-double for Luka Doncic. But when he forced the overtime with a shot that he hit, did you see the wild conniption dance he did?
Oh, yeah. I would have done the same thing.
I get it, right?
I probably would have pulled something, but I would have done it.
Well, he's not exactly the most in-shape fella.
No, he's kind of like me. He's a little doughy.
But 60, 21, and 10?
Hey.
That's unbelievable, obviously.
Yeah. That was impressive. I was watching the end of the Pacers game, and then I saw everybody on Twitter was like, Luka! And I was like, okay, what happened? So then I switched over to League Pass, and I was like, oh my. And then, yeah, that was a hell of a game, a hell of a performance by Luka Doncic. So a reason why stars are stars, a performance like that. Pacers really good. The nice win. Nice. I'm sure Kevin was doing the gritty in Florida when he got that alert that the Pacers won and beat the Hawks. Very quiet 22 points from Trae Young. I thought you were there in person. Did you? Is it one of those things where you looked up he has 22 points right now? Didn't really seem like it was that much of a impressive effort from him.
A quiet 22 is a good way to say
it.
He had 1 3 that he hit a 3 from deep, and it was like, oh wow, okay. There's Trae Young, right? But yeah, it wasn't like the typical flash, and I'll tell you who else had kind of a quiet but effective night. O'Shea Brisset for the Pacers.
Yeah, he was very impressive last night.
And Buddy Hield got off to a huge start and a fast start. We'll talk about him over the course of the morning. As a matter of fact, Alex Golden's going to join us at 9 o'clock this morning. I'm sure Buddy Hield will be a topic of discussion. Taylor Tannebaum, who sent a tweet yesterday that was interesting regarding Chris Ballard, is going to join us at 8:30 in the morning. And Taylor can expand upon when she said that Chris Ballard has fractured a lot of relationships with players, and we'll just kind of touch base with her anyway, as she's obviously a friend of Indianapolis from WTHR, now at the ACC Network. Marc, did you do anything fun last night?
So I watched the Pacers game. That was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed doing that, and then pretty much trying to still organize and put away Christmas gifts that the girls got. It's still a floodgate by our front door, just unloading stuff and like, okay, what did I just step on? Is this Barbie piece broken now, or can it be reassembled?
You have 3 girls?
Yes.
A lot of Barbie pieces?
Lots of Barbies and lots of dinosaurs. The oldest is obsessed with dinosaurs, and the other 2 are Barbie and Disney princesses and everything. So we have a mishmash of dinosaurs, Barbies, and Disney princesses at the moment.
You know, the good news last night into today, just so in case anybody's keeping score at home, nobody drove on the canal.
That's good. I saw that video, and at first I was like, wait, where is that car going? I was like, that road's really icy. I was like, oh, wait, it's the canal. How on the earth did you get down there?
Here's the thing. For those that are unfamiliar, yesterday, unfortunately, the woman is okay.
You said unfortunately?
No, I said
I think you said unfortunately she's okay. I was like, oh, man.
Unfortunately, she
took a dark
okay.
turn.
There were a couple of people ice skating on the downtown canal near like the Indiana Historical Society, and they were videotaping, and all of a sudden they're like, there's a car driving right down the middle of the canal. And to your point, Marc, to the eye, if you were not from Indianapolis and didn't know the geography of, when you just saw the video, it looks like it could be a street because it was completely frozen. But they're like, do you think that person knows that it's thawed, like up by where they're going?
Mm-hmm.
And they found out because the car went under. Fortunately, the driver was able to get out, and then Good Samaritans helped him, I think, out of the water. I did see, one would assume, it was a female, and she apparently told police that her GPS had her going that way. But how do you get down there? That's what I want to know. Like, I think she had to drive like down one of the.
You have to go down a stairwell, didn't you? Or get down an embankment, down the grass?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Have to drive down the grass. That's the part where you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, at that point, I'd be like, this GPS app needs to get deleted if it's telling me to go down the grass.
I believe they said alcohol was a factor.
Well.
But, I mean, the off-road, once you were on it, I could see how you probably, you would think that you would figure out you're on ice, right?
Driving on water?
Well, it's frozen solid.
Yeah.
But the traction had to have been a little
You better have some solid
right?
tires, yeah.
I also, speaking of odd means of transportation, and this is not sports related, I realize, but can somebody explain to me, Marc, can you explain to me, I'm asking kind of rhetorically, what's going on with Southwest Airlines?
Oh, well, yeah, that was flooding my Twitter feed as well yesterday. I was like, what is going on? And I just kept seeing luggage bag after luggage bag and a laundry list of luggage all over the country, where they canceled like 70% of their flights, and people were stuck before Christmas, and then we're told they can't book till after New Year's and all that. I don't understand that. Like people were saying that the customer service phone line that they tell you to call was completely down. So people are just like, is Southwest Airlines still in business? What's going on?
In all honesty, it makes you wonder if Southwest is going to be able to come out of it, because they've 2,500 flights again today. The vast majority of the problem is 2 of their hubs are Midway and Denver airports, and both of those got slammed. But then my understanding is they use like a different system in terms of their computer banking for navigating a lot of different things, and then obviously manpower and whatever else. But I did see some people were saying like, like if you were in Baltimore and you were stranded and you're trying to get to, say, Cleveland, at some point, don't you just punt and rent a car?
Well, I was told that there are no rental cars available. That was the other issue, is that people were like, we have no other ways of getting out of here. There was no...
Man, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I did see a cool story.
There's no planes, trains, and automobiles situation that they could get into.
Well, I saw a cool story right before Christmas where there were 4 people, and I can't recall. I think it was Cleveland where they were going, and they were in... Was it Orlando or Tampa? And their flights were all canceled. And it was 4 younger people. Like, it looked like they were all 4 were probably between the ages of 28 and 35, something like that. 4 total strangers, and they were all going to Cleveland, and there was like one rental car left, and they're like, all right, let's do it. And so the 4 of them rented a car together and drove like 16 hours straight through. I think I said it was 20. And they posted it, and they did some TikTok videos, and I mean, they were like they actually looked like
that
4
would be
people
fun.
They looked like 4 people that were like college roommates or something. I mean, it was 2 guys and 2 girls. That's a
lifelong story you got there.
Well, I had 2 friends on 9/11. I hate to bring that up, but my friends Scott and Stacy Singer were coming back from their honeymoon in Europe, and were like over the Atlantic when they got the word, hey, when we land, this. So they landed in I want to say New York, maybe it was Philadelphia, and there were no flights available, of course, no connecting flights. So they rented a van it was like a guy from like Buffalo, a guy from Cleveland, and a guy from Pittsburgh or something, and they all just piled into a van together and like, let's go. What can you do, right?
Yeah, not much you can do at that point because there's.
You had raised an interesting point, Mark, about last night from the Pacer game. Sam Fritz said it as well this morning. One thing we know about Buddy Hield to me is a fascinating player because. And the Pacers have had players like this over the course of their franchise history. Reggie Miller is clearly the one that comes to mind. To be honest with you, and we saw such limited glimpses of it that I don't know that people realize this, but Jonathan Bender was this kind of a player. But lightning in a bottle guys that like all of a sudden in the course of a game, when it hits, they can erupt for like 10 points and 2 minutes, just, whoa, what just happened? Like a flurry of points, shots just fall. They're in a zone. And you don't know when it's going to happen, so you kind of always have them on the floor because you're waiting for it to happen. But it really did happen last night with Buddy Hield, to be honest with you. I mean, he's 6 to 7 from three-point range. At one point, he scored 10 points in like a minute and a half.
Yeah, he was just dropping dimes left and right.
And, ended up at 28. I think that I have heard for a year and a half the conversation about Buddy Hield being traded. And he may be. And what I'm about to say, people may look back and go, what an idiot that he would say that. He had no idea what he's talking about. But to me, the vast majority of conversation regarding Buddy Hield and a trade has been about teams that would be hoping to trade for Buddy Hield, as opposed to conversation that was originated by Indiana offering their desire or their for sale sign regarding Buddy Hield. I mean, I've not heard Indiana say that they're looking to part ways with him.
No, I feel like ever since they acquired him, though, the buzz, he's just here temporarily. He's going to get moved and stuff. And then there's talk, obviously, like, you can trade Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. Now I think there's a very real possibility that neither get traded. The Pacers are in the playoff hunt. There's rumors that the Pacers and Myles Turner are opening up contract extensions. And I think Buddy Hield, the way he's playing, I said at the beginning of the year, and people kind of are like, well, he's 30 years old. You can't keep him around. He's not going to be here for the core. I'm like, well, 30 years old isn't that old for the NBA these days. And I don't know. I like what Buddy Hield has done. I like what he brings to the team. I think he's a great dynamic. And I would love to see him stick around because I think you can't, especially if Benedict Mathurin, which we're kind of seeing in December, is hitting a little bit of a rookie wall at the moment.
Correct.
Buddy Hield has picked up, where Mathurin's kind of dropped off, and you get that added scoring that, what Mathurin's kind of losing, Hield is taking in with the ball and running with it. So I like what Buddy Hield brings. I think they should very highly consider bringing him back and not trade him at all. And I don't know about you, but I like what he brings to the table. I think he's a great use on this roster.
Watch sometime. It happened last night with Halliburton late in the game. I think actually they called Halliburton for an offensive foul. We thought it was an and one at the moment where he was slow to get up. Or watch when Myles Turner or Aaron Nesmith, drives to the lane and gets knocked down. Regardless of where he is on the floor, assuming he's in the game at the moment it happens, look who the first player is. The Pacers are one of the best teams in the NBA at the following. And I watch a lot of games. I mean, I watch pretty closely. disingenuous to say that I see every team's every game. I don't see every game for the Pacers.
How
much
dare
to
you.
the chagrin of Regent Bryan. But I attend probably 25 of the home games. I would say 60 to 70% of them. So I watch pretty intently. I see at least a little bit of the majority of their games. My relationship was somewhat dependent on it for a long time. And with other teams, I don't see this. The Pacers have to lead the league and the number of teammates that go over to help up a teammate when they're knocked to the floor. Now, that sounds way nuanced and extremely Freudian. But there's something to be said for it. Because this particular group of players, whether it's a credit to Kevin Pritchard, Chad Buchanan, I don't know. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's by design. But this particular group of players just seems to really cohesively work well with one another. And I think Buddy Hield is a huge part of that.
I think that too. I've never heard a bad word spoken about him. He seems like he's a great teammate. I just think he brings a lot more than just the points on the floor. I think he's a leader in the locker room, and I think he brings that kind of like veteran mentality to a young team. I know he's the elder statesman of the team at 30 years old because it's a very young roster, but I think you need guys like that.
You know what he appears to be?
Yeah.
Everyone's buddy.
Oh, well, that's really well said. Check the time, 7:19.
Buddy Hield, simply, when he's out on the floor, he just comes off like with the rest of the team. He's everyone's buddy.
I'm surprised you'd make like an elf reference or something.
By the way, my friend Alex just sent a great tweet. Don't trade Buddy Hield or Myles Turner. How much younger can we get?
Yeah.
And you, like you said, Mark, you do need some level of veteran leadership, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, 30 years old, again, in the NBA, that's not that bad. And I think exactly what he's bringing to the table is what you need. You need someone that you can rely on to possibly get hot, if the young guys are struggling.
What are you drinking this morning in your Buc-ee's?
Oh, this is my daily coffee. That's all it is. It's just coffee. Went Snickers flavored today. Yeah. There's a Snickers flavored coffee. I was at Kroger and they had...
Hold on. So the coffee itself is Snickers flavored, or you put like a little creamer in it that's Snickers flavored?
It says, I was at Kroger and it had, they had sale on K-Cups. So I was like, okay, let's get a little crazy here. And I was like perusing and I looked and it said Snickers. And I said, now what now? And I looked and it was a Snickers flavored coffee. I was like, well, let's roll the dice on this one.
Is there any coffee in that? Or is it no, I mean.
Yes. It's real coffee. It's not like there's not nougat in there.
But, I mean, is it like it?
It's not bad.
What's the caloric intake of it?
Oh, I don't know. Like,
I mean, do you realize how many false toxins you're probably putting in your body just to taste the Snickers?
Well, I'm dispensing it from a plastic container, so I can only imagine.
Why don't you just basically go get a Snickers bar and buy yourself a smoothie machine and whip it up and put it in there?
Well, hey, don't tempt me with a good time, sir.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to see if I can find the caloric intake of a Snickers coffee. Here's the image right here. I'm telling you, this is what enticed me.
Now, wait a minute.
The original donut shop coffee, Snickers coffee. Artificially flavored. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, I mean, because the Snickers is so naturally flavored as it is, right? I mean, come on. Now, there is
it's
a coffee
12 count. So
I've never been a coffee guy. I don't like coffee. My entire family drinks coffee. I don't. Every family event we're at, like, do you want coffee? No, I don't want coffee. Jake's not drinking coffee. Is everything okay with Jake? Jake's fine. Jake doesn't drink coffee.
You on coffee would be something to see, I feel like.
Well, so Mottman tells me, he's like, look, so from a heart standpoint, he's like, I would suggest eventually you start to drink coffee because it's a little better for you than like everything that comes with an energy drink. He actually said Diet Mountain Dew is okay. So I actually went and bought ground coffee and got a coffee maker. And so I don't necessarily like it, but I drink a cup of coffee on my way in. And one of the brands of coffee at the grocery store, Death Wish Coffee, are you familiar with it?
I have heard them, yep.
I looked it up. There's no way that this could be possible. This is what they advertise, Mark. and I don't see how this is possible. Have you looked up the caffeine content in Death Wish coffee?
I mean, it's got the name, so I can't imagine it's...
Look up the caffeine content of a 12-ounce cup of Death Wish coffee. There's no way this is possible.
59 per ounce? Is that what I'm seeing correctly?
A 12-ounce cup of Death Wish coffee is like 1,500 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh, I'm looking at that wrong then. Oh, my God.
That's like 9 Red Bulls. There's no way that's possible, right?
I feel like you'd have a heart attack if you took a sip of that.
Totally. I don't see how... maybe I read it wrong.
I hope you did. You almost had to have.
No, hold on.
What I have right here is that an 8-ounce cup of coffee would have around 472 milligrams of caffeine, which is still unworldly.
For 8 ounce.
For 8 ounces,
okay,
yes.
so a 16 ounce. Now that, I mean, they have different blends, so maybe I was looking at like their maximum.
Yeah, a 16 ounce you look at 1,100.
Well, 950.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you if it's 472, you're looking at 944, right?
Right.
I mean, that's literally like a Red Bull is like 160 milligrams of caffeine. I mean, that's 6 times a Red Bull in one cup of coffee. I mean, a 16-ounce cup of coffee is a pretty big cup, but still.
It says it's the strongest coffee in the world, and it says it comes with a warning, but if you buy it on Amazon, it does not. But it says the website has warnings that state that 200%. It has 200% more caffeine than most coffees.
It has.
That's outrageous.
It has 6 times your or no. The recommended daily intake of caffeine is 600 milligrams. So it's like 90% your daily intake in your first 30 minutes of the day. I don't know.
By the way, that Snickers coffee, if you drink it black, 0 calories. Just wanted to let you know. 0 calories.
I also saw 0 sugar, so I'm thinking, what's the point?
See? Not so outrageous now, is it, Jake?
Okay. Or not so nutrageous, which is another flavor I'm sure they offer.
Hey,
right?
There's probably like cream donut or something like that.
We'll get you caught up on what happened overnight in the world of sports. And then, as we had mentioned, Taylor Tannebaum coming up 8:30 this morning. Alex Golden, 9 o'clock this morning. It is a Wednesday. Good morning to you. Supposed to be sunny today, by the way, for the first time in quite some time. So we have gotten out of the gray funk of feeling like we live in the Eastern Bloc. And gotten here in Indianapolis, a little sunshine this morning, hopefully. It's Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Pacers are flying higher than Donner and Blitzen.
All the way to the hoop.
And Rick Carlisle has a big bag of tricks.
And slams it with 2 hands.
Bigger than Old St. Nick's.
Step back for 3.
With players young enough to still believe in Santa. Follow the Pacers through the holidays and into the new year.
Marching down the lane and slams it with 2 hands.
On your home of the Pacers.
The goal, and he lays it in.
93.5 and 107.5.
And Hield hits a 3.
The Fan.
Get smarter every day at Ozzy.com. Try a new news site that tells you about the most interesting people, places, and ideas. Try OZY.com. Ozzy, it's a latte for your mind.
Jake Query here for the DraftKings Sportsbook app, which is my go-to when betting on the NBA this holiday season. I love the NBA during the holidays, and what better way to accentuate that fun than same-game wagers on any of the NBA games, and for you Pacer fans, a no-sweat bet on every Pacer game this December. That's right. This month, everyone can earn a no-sweat bet with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Head to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in under the promos tab, and place an eligible bet of your choice on a Pacer game, and even if it doesn't hit, you're going to get your money back in a free bet. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook app is where to go to bet on the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can sign up with a promo code 1075FAN and get a no-sweat bet on every Pacer game this December. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and opt in today to receive this limited time offer only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Indiana Pacers. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only. Max reward limits apply. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing bet. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi guys, it's Marc. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, December 28th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pine Grove Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies accessories, including from Gamebridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now, and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 317-552-1111. That's 317-552-1111. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pine Grove Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday. 317-552-1111.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Are you ready?
At Lowe's, it pays to be a pro. Now through January 6th, Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards members earn 1 bonus point for every $1 spent on qualifying purchases with a Lowe's Business Credit Account. Redeem bonus points for cool rewards for your business. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Subject to credit approval, Lowe's terms and exclusions. See Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points and Lowe's.com/L/Pro loyalty terms for details. U.S. only.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Save big while being the hit of your New Year's Eve party with the help of Payless Liquors. 20-count Parrot Bay party buckets are only $9.99. Fireball yardsticks $34.99, and Truly Vodka 15-pack $7.99. And all 26 family-owned Payless Liquor stores have your bubbly. All varieties of Andre Champagne are $5.99 a bottle. Martini and Rossi is $9.99, and French Champagne Vive Clicquot is just $49.99. Don't pay more when you ring in the new year. Get more and pay less at Payless Liquors.
At Eskenazi Health, our patients are treated with compassion and skill. That's why Eskenazi Health is looking for professionals who share our mission and are dedicated to serving the community. As an employee of Indiana's top hospital for social responsibility and community health investment, you'll enjoy excellent benefits, competitive pay, and unwavering leadership support. Learn more about Eskenazi Health careers online at eskenazihealth.edu/careers.
It's the BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat, all you can drink, 3 hours before kickoff inside the Bullseye Event Center right across the street from Lucas Oil Stadium. Get your passes today. BullseyeEventGroup.com for the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat and the food presented by Food Network Chef Aaron May. Bullseye Event Group offers indoor and outdoor climate control lounge seating for a VIP tailgate experience. All ages welcome. Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com and get your tickets now.
The Morning Checkdown, brought to you by Ball State Basketball. Get your tickets at ballstatesports.com on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Speaking of Ball State, tonight, 8-4, Coach Lewis's, that's Michael Lewis's Cardinals hosting Chicago State, 7 o'clock game up in Worthen Arena. 4-game win streak for Ball State, by the way. They are 4-0 at home. Your chance to go up. If you're on the north side of Indy, about 50-minute drive up to Worthen Arena, great arena for Ball State, Chicago State, 7 o'clock tip tonight. In the NBA last night, Indiana 129-114 over the Atlanta Hawks. Pacers jumped out to a lead midway through the first and really kind of never looked back. Buddy Hield was the catalyst, 6 of 7 from three-point range. He had 28 points. Again, we talked about kind of a lightning in a bottle guy that players seem to rally around. Rick Carlisle, your thoughts on Buddy Hield?
Well, if you saw his daily routine, you'd have a really good idea. I mean, he just, he lives for the game. He lives for, running around and getting open shots and trying to knock them in. I mean, We break up from halftime. He sprints out to the floor and starts feeling that ball and starts shooting. You watch him during timeouts. He's grabbing the ball and he just is fully engaged in his craft all the time. And I just, I look at him and, Lloyd and I were talking about it during one of the timeouts, and we both just kind of looked at each other and simultaneously said, that guy's special, and that's how we see him.
Elsewhere in the league last night, LA 129-110 over the Magic. It was Washington, Boston, the Clippers, the Suns, the Thunder, Golden State and Denver also getting wins. The big story last night in the association, the Dallas Mavericks on a 4-game win streak after Luka Doncic with 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists, and a pretty remarkable putback off of his own miss of a free throw as time expired to force overtime. Mavericks with a 5-point win over the New York Knickerbockers.
College football, we had 4 bowl games yesterday. Buffalo beat Georgia Southern in the Camellia Bowl, 23-21.
The Camellia?
Camellias, yeah, that's what it says.
That's a plant, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. The First Responder Bowl, Memphis over Utah State, 38-10. Coastal Carolina and East Carolina. East Carolina, 53-29 over Coastal Carolina.
What bowl game was that?
That was the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm guessing it took place in Birmingham. And then the Wisconsin Badgers topped Oklahoma State 24-17 in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Another foursome of games today. UCF against Duke in the Military Bowl. That starts at 2 o'clock. Kansas and Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl. Oregon, go Ducks, against North Carolina. And the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. That's a mouthful. And then Texas Tech Ole Miss is the nightcap in the Texas Bowl.
Now that's in Texas, right?
Yeah, that would be weird if it wasn't.
Other news in college football, by the way, Bethune-Cookman will have a new head coach. It is former University of Miami and Baltimore Ravens star Ed Reed. Ed Reed, who, by the way, was a roommate of Reggie Wayne's. One of my favorite stories ever was when Reggie Wayne went to the NFL. Ed Reed had a year left of college. So Reggie Wayne had a pet snake. I think I told you guys this on the air once, named Law. And it was a boa constrictor. And Reggie Wayne told Ed Reed, like, look, I've got to go to Indianapolis and report for work. So let's just keep Law here in our apartment. And at the end, I'll come get him after my rookie year is complete. But you just, take care of him. And Reggie Wayne said he was at practice one day. He was having a rough rookie year. It took him a while to get going. And then one day he got a text from Ed Reed that just simply said, Law dead. And he said, what do you mean he's dead? He goes, I don't know. He died. And Reggie Wayne said, well, how'd he die? He's only like 2 years old or whatever. Have you been feeding him? Well, yeah, you told me I'm supposed to feed him like a mouse a month, right? Law, unfortunately.
A little more frequently than that?
Law needed more caloric intake than your Snickers.
Ed Reed's lucky he didn't become lunch.
That's exactly
Law would have been
right.
hungry.
It's like in something about Mary, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened to
yeah.
one of the fellas? We come back. We'll take a look back again. More on Buddy Hield. But some interesting Colts perspectives I want to get to regarding an interesting text I got yesterday. We'll explain what I'm talking about, and we'll do it next. It's Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Pacers host the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
For the perfect holiday gift, get moving again pain-free. You can do that via QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine, taking unique protocols to use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? You have any arthritis or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids. You call QC Kinetics with locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood and get a free consultation today. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as the next week. So make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics. That's 317-559-PAIN in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. Give QC Kinetics a call today. 317-559-PAIN.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. A jacuzzi bath system fits in your existing tub space. It's a no-mess installation with an amazing style selection, factory-certified installers, and a limited lifetime warranty. Call 800-717-4599. That's 800-717-4599 right now and get 50% off installations with no interest and no payments for 12 months. Replace that old bathtub today with a walk-in shower for a safer bathing experience. If you have lived in your home for over 15 years, it's time to remodel your bathroom. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-717-4599. That's 800-717-4599. 800-717-4599.
Peacock presents the new original limited series, The Best Man, the final chapters, from the creator of The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday, and executive producer of Insecure. The series reunites the original cast to wrap up all the unfinished business, with new loves, career highs, parenthood, grief, and everything in between. The series explores what threatens to tear us down and what ultimately keeps us together. The Best Man, the final chapters, streaming now, only on Peacock.
O'Reilly. Don't risk getting stranded with a bad battery. Our professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery does need to be replaced, we'll help you find the best battery for your vehicle and your budget. Don't wait until your battery is dead. Get it tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Join Marc Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Also, stop smoking with Marc Patrick. This hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hi, this is Danny Reinhardt from Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. From everyone in our family, Kevin, Kim, Corey, Stumpy, Brian, and Morgan, we would like to wish your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and please enjoy the holidays. If you do have any emergency services, don't forget to call us at 317-745-4526.
If you're out in Hendricks County, the family to call is Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best in plumbing. That's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. 317-284-9526. Let's talk about 83 are free involving any drain in your home. Means LD Smith is going to come out and make sure your drains are clog free for $83 or the visit is free. That's 83 are free at 317-284-9526. The best in plumbing, Lance and his local team online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
A new season, a new QB, a new look. Football is back. And so are Bud Light Blue Fridays. Every week, join JMV beginning at 3 for Cold Bud Lights, Colts football talk, and your chance to win tickets to Colts games.
Hey, JMV, join me Friday at Manley's Irish Mutt, 10th and Shadeland for your chance at Texans tickets.
JMV, Bud Light, and you. Doing it for the shoe.
This Friday at Manley's Irish Mutt at 10th and Shadeland.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, good morning to you. Hoping it turns out to be what looks to be a good-looking Wednesday, because sun is in the forecast and things starting to warm up just a little bit. Everything feels okay after you've had sub-20 degree, 20 degrees below zero temperatures. All of a sudden it gets 20 degrees. Like, it's balmy out here.
Helps when you inject your heart with some Death Wish coffee, too.
You know what I need?
Sweating here.
So what I really need to get instead of, and you need to get off that the Snickerdoodle, whatever it is.
0 calories, sir.
I went to high school with a guy that runs Wood Warbler coffee, and it's hard for me to say Wood Warbler, but that's the official coffee of the convention center.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize that a lot of coffee places it's bad for birds, like the way that coffee is made, and it's a bird-friendly coffee company. But it's based right here in Indiana, which is kind of cool.
Bad, like the birds shouldn't drink coffee, or they get into the grounds and they eat the grounds and their heart explodes.
I think it has to do with like the netting and the way that they. Something with that.
Interesting.
But nonetheless, more importantly, obviously it's great coffee because anybody that comes to Indiana for a convention, that's what they get while they're at the convention.
Can you buy it, or is it?
Yeah, you buy it up in Noblesville.
Oh, okay.
Wood Warbler Coffee. Let me read you a text that I got yesterday from Scott, who listens to the program. He said, I wanted to share my thoughts on Jim Irsay's decisions in terms of some of the things happening at the quarterback position. Now, Mark, hear this out, because I actually thought to myself, this is relatively plausible, I think. He said, I wonder if in some ways the quarterbacking is the vindication that Jim Irsay feels of his decisions. And here's what I mean. If you look at who Frank Reich brought in, Irsay could be saying, first Reich sold me on Carson Wentz, then he sold me on Matt Ryan, and Nick Foles as his expensive backup. You're telling me that Foles looked better than Ellinger, who I told Reich to play for a couple of games? Could Irsay be thinking that the performance last night, meaning on Monday night, proves Frank Reich was 3 times wrong? The crowd was chanting for Sam, which would have been vindicating what Irsay pushed for in the middle of the year.
I mean, that's an interesting take for sure.
I think it is a fair question to ask. What does playing Nick Foles at this point do for you? What is the benefit?
0. Nothing, because Matt Ryan and Nick Foles are not part of the Colts' future. We know that. That's pretty black and white. That's pretty clear. So right now, you're starting, you've just started 2 guys now with Jeff Saturday that have no future with the Colts going forward. Like, there's no way you can bring either of them back, I don't think, next year, unless Nick Foles is back on a very veteran, team-friendly deal. But at that point, you better have a rookie guy and maybe Sam Ellinger under center. But Sam Ellinger, even if you don't think he's going to be the future, why not see what you got in him?
Is it possible, when they went to Sam Ellinger in the middle of the year, their claim was, we're going to him because he gives us the best chance to win? So is it possible now that they're going with Nick Foles because he gives them the best chance to lose?
Some would argue that Matt Ryan was giving you the best chance to lose. Either
Agreed.
one.
I personally don't think that's the case, but I understand why people would.
Are you
think
saying
that.
they're tanking without they're trying to tank without making it so obvious?
You would think that they have to know at this point organizationally that there's nothing to gain from them winning a game. And I get it. The players want to win. I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get it. And in particular on the defensive side of the ball, they've got to be at their wits' end. But the only thing that I can pinpoint, I think Scott raises a really interesting vantage point. But to me, it's more simply this. And that is, if you, at this point, I don't know that the Colts are looking at wins and losses. I mean, sure, I guess you're looking at the draft board, but I think you have to take a look at everybody on the offensive side of the ball, which has been completely non-existent. And you have to look on the offensive side of the ball and say, okay, what do we have and who do we have here? And so in that capacity, it would seem to me, Mark, that you would go with a veteran quarterback because the veteran quarterback is at least going to be able to see or read or anticipate things that a young rookie would not. And so therefore, it allows you to better assess how your offensive linemen and your receivers respond to or play with a guy that seemingly has first instinctual right decision making, as opposed to a guy who's learning on the job, and thus it makes it more challenging to figure out what the learning curve of everybody around him is.
Kind of like the interim head coach they installed learning on the job. Like, that seems like they've kind of done that whole thing ass backwards. Like, you want to evaluate everybody, but then we've put in an interim coach who was on TV, 3 weeks earlier, and, now you're throwing a staff around him. You fired the offensive coordinator, you fired the head coach, and we need to evaluate guys. Well, how do you evaluate guys when the guys that are making the decisions are learning on the job? I mean, it's that kind of decision making that makes this whole thing even more comical than it's been all season.
Comical?
Yeah. Because, I mean, the Colts are let's be fair. The Colts are a laughing stock around the NFL. Like, I listen to Chicago sports radio. They are laughing at the Colts. They're like, they are a joke. Get them off of national TV, this and that. That's what the majority, that's usually like the reaction of when the Bears are on prime time.
Here is even worse than that. I don't think the Colts are a laughing stock in the NFL. I don't.
Oof.
Hear me out. Chicago, Mark, first off, Chicago probably got pretty irked. There's India's Chicago's little brother, right? I mean, like it's, there are a lot of people that grow up in India and then they move to Chicago. I mean, it's a great city, right? It's the hub of the region in which we live. Chicago is the Midwestern hub. And Chicago probably, like a lot of teams, got tired of hearing about the Colts for 15 straight years. And there was a lot of resentment, I think, league-wide, fans, media, even owners of other NFL teams, I think truly resented the gift of the Colts. I mean, it is so rare if you think about the fact that the Colts went from a franchise quarterback right into another franchise quarterback. I mean, there are franchises out there that the New York Jets. The New York Jets have never had a franchise quarterback since Joe Namath, right? I mean, Ken O'Brien, Richard Todd, okay, Browning Nagel, Mark Sanchez.
The Sanchez, man. Don't forget him.
Zach Wilson. And the Colts not only had it from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck, people forget that Peyton Manning entered the league as John Elway was on his way out. And that was a guy they also drafted, right? I mean, the Denver Broncos have never won a Super Bowl with a quarterback that wasn't drafted by the Colts in their franchise history.
That is a wild stat, like wild thing.
So I think that there's resentment from some franchises, cities, fans, whatever, of like Indianapolis was this team that just literally had the stroke of luck. It's like the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs, sure, they're a great run organization, yada, yada, yada. Well, it helps that you had David Robinson. Then the 1 year that he gets hurt and you tank, not literally, but your season goes in the drain because David Robinson's hurt. Oh, we just won the lottery again. Now we get Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward of all time. Well, that certainly helps, right? So I think there's resentment about the Colts where people are enjoying watching them now because in any walk of life, Mark, when you see people that are going through struggles that you yourself have gone through, you're empathetic towards it, but at the same time, you're like, hey, I made my way out of this, so you can as well. But yeah, I mean, I got news for you. It's tough on the other side there, right?
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
And so I think there are a lot of franchises that look at what the Colts are going through, and they're like, yeah, welcome to the NFL, man. Like, especially for people that are 30-year-old Colts fans that have never really known any different other than having Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, and now toiling year after year after year of chasing that high. And it's like, yeah, well, now you know how most franchises feel. But I think that the league-wide perception of the Indianapolis Colts in December of 2022 is exactly what the Colts don't want, and that's this. They're just there. They're just there.
Yeah.
If you look at the NFC, like I'm gonna pull up the NFC. Actually, the Colts' next opponent, the New York Giants, are a team that they've done a nice job coming back from last year, a really bad season. But for the most part, they're just there. Saquon Barkley's an exciting player.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks even if they make the playoffs that they're going to be making much noise.
The Carolina Panthers, they've kind of been interesting because Baker Mayfield was there for a minute and it didn't work out and they jettisoned him, and now that the New Orleans Saints, that's a prime example. The New Orleans Saints are 6-9. They took Jameis Winston. He got hurt. Who was the New Orleans Saints starting quarterback last week? Do you know?
Is it still Andy Dalton? Aren't they still rolling him out?
They go kind of by committee, I think. Am I wrong in that?
I mean, Jameis, I don't think has gotten much play even after recovering from the injury.
You're right. It is Andy Dalton. Taysom Hill, at one point, they remember they had used him a couple of years ago. So Dalton's at 2,400 yards for the year, right? They're just there. Andy Dalton's a guy that's been around. He had success elsewhere, and he's competent. He's at this point, he's kind of like a Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Colts are seeing. If you were to listen to sports talk radio in New Orleans, unless they're talking about the Super Bowl they won, when they talk about Indianapolis, they're probably like, yeah. And they're like, now who's starting there this week? The other guys, is it Matt Ryan or is it Foles? I mean, I know they took Matt Ryan, but is he hurt? I don't know. Okay, here we go. It's Nick Foles is getting the start. Okay, they're just there. It's not a place you want to be, right?
Right, and I think also what's doing the Colts no good is just the way that the decision making. I think it's the decisions that have also kind of turned people off, or have kind of made people like, what are they doing over there? Like the Jeff Saturday interim hire was bizarre for a lot of people outside looking in, even for people that are inside looking in. For us, we were like, what the heck is going on? He went from a weekly guest and all of a sudden the head coach. We have a lot of swing in this town.
I remember I was doing the weekly podcast that I do with Derek when that news broke. And Derek said, oh, the Colts just named an interim head coach and it's a former player. And I said, Reggie Wayne? He goes, nope. I said, Cato June? Nope. David Thornton? Nope. And I'm like, wait a minute. Because I'm going by people that are
on the staff.
In the organization, yeah. Right? And then he said, Jeff Saturday. Okay. So, yes, unconventional for sure.
Yeah, and I think just the Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, Sam Ellinger, just the carousel of quarterbacks as well. They're kind of like, what is going on over there? And then
when you were a kid and you would ride a carousel, which one would you get on?
Oh, the highest pony I could find. That one goes to the sky, Dad.
What about the sit-down tiger? They usually had two tigers that were a little bench. Did you ever do that?
No. You had to. If you're getting on the carousel, ride it. That's for the people that I get motion sickness or whatever. Let's get off the ride then, ma'am.
Okay.
Or for little kids that wanted to, now you can strap the kids on. Have you seen that where they have a seatbelt that you put them over their back or something? You strap them in.
Don't you usually stand next to the kid while they're riding?
You're supposed to. Which you do. I still do. But, I mean, it's like an added safety feature.
Do they still have carousel? Do they still have one at the Children's Museum? The Children's Museum, by the way, today closed due to a pipe burst. What's that?
Oh. My niece actually rode the carousel over the summer. She's 2 years old at the Children's Museum. And believe it or not, with all the safety precautions just mentioned, parent next to her, strapped to the horse, 3 seconds in. Granted, she's 2 years old. No, but she started crying immediately.
Wow.
Immediately had to go to the tiger bench.
Connor Prairie had
the bench. She was sitting next to Maglio Ordonez.
That's like the penalty box in an NHL game. To the tiger box with you, sir.
That's right.
Connor Prairie had the carousel that we rode.
Really?
Yeah, for their winter celebration.
I've never been to. I have emceed events with the orchestra at Connor Prairie, but I've never actually been to Connor Prairie.
You need to go. Connor Prairie's a good time, especially around the holidays. They do it right. Get all the candy apples you want.
Good performance last night for the Pacers at the Fieldhouse. We'll talk about that, and we'll revisit another topic in college basketball as well. Taylor Tannebaum joins us bottom of the hour at 8:30. It's Kevin and Query on what? Oh, my goodness, there's the sun on a Wednesday.
Happy New Year! The Colts spend New Year's Day in New York. Well, technically, it's in New Jersey. It's the Colts and Giants Sunday from MetLife. Pre-game at 10, kickoff at 1 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
97.1 Hank FM is Indy's #1 for new country.
Trying to catch a good time.
And catch the Colts each game day starting an hour before kickoff on your home for Colts football. 97.1 Hank FM.
Celebrate great savings at Mattress Firm's Dreamcember sale. Get a king for a queen price or a queen for a twin and save up to $700 on select mattresses.
Get to Muncie December 28th as the Cards host Chicago State at 7 p.m. Get tickets at ballstatesports.com or charge by phone 888-PSU-TICKET. It's Take a Kid to Game Night. 2 free kids tickets with 1 paid adult.
Hi guys, it's Marc. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, December 28th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pine Grove Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 317-552-1111. That's 317-552-1111. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pine Grove Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday. 317-552-1111.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Bowling is great family fun, so plan to spend New Year's Eve this year with Royal Pin. Plus, this year you can pick from 2 party times, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. on regular or cosmic lanes. For just $125 per lane, you get a full package of bowling fun that includes 3 hours of bowling for up to 6 guests, 1 large, 1-topping pizza, pitcher of soda, special toast, door prizes. Every lane gets something, and even New Year's Eve hats and party favors. $65 deposit, remainder due before December 29th.
Set them up, knock them down, send them flying, spinning round.
Space is quickly filling. Call 465-8484 to book today.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling.
Royal Pin, bowling.
On behalf of Vivid Seats, let's get one thing clear. There are sports fans, and then there are real sports fans. I'm talking about the know every player, every play, every score, and every game sports fan. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN, believes real fans deserve a ticketing platform that not only makes it easy to find great deals on great tickets, but also gives valuable rewards all season long. Like a free 11th ticket for every 10 you buy, or a 100% buyer guarantee that your ticket will be as legit as your love for the game. It's about time there's a ticketing app that supported you as much as you support your favorite team. And now, it's here. Download the app or visit vividseats.com now to find great deals on the tickets you want, all while earning the rewards you deserve. Get $10 off your first $100 Vivid Seats purchase with code RADIO. That's RADIO. Make up for lost time and get to the game. See vividseats.com/rewards for rewards program terms and conditions.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Affinity Whole Health is the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy. You'll improve your mental focus, drive, and the physical benefits are amazing. Go to feelgreatindy.com. See why patients rave about Affinity at feelgreatindy.com. That's feelgreatindy.com.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis. The Colts close out their road schedule when they face the New York Giants. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
I have good news, better news, and great news. Mark, which would you like first?
Oh, give me the bad news.
No, good news, better news, and great news.
There's no bad news?
I don't think there's any bad news.
Oh, that's disappointing.
That is the bad news.
Yeah. The bad news is there's no bad news. All right, give me the great news then.
The great news is the sun is starting to show itself.
Boy,
for the first time
I thought you were going to have to get a padded room the way you banged on the glass.
I did.
You saw the sun.
I was like, oh my gosh.
I think you were kind of like a Tom Allen. You yelled hark.
Now, listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay, pal?
You literally yelled hark and banged on the glass.
Did. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's actually like orange in the sky.
That's the most energy I've seen you have before 8 o'clock.
Listen, I do not do well with overcast skies. I'm fine with it, like for a little bit. And I love my favorite city in the United States, aside from New York, which I don't see how you could go to New York and not have it be it's the greatest city in the world. But I love Seattle. I absolutely love Seattle, but I couldn't live there or I could in the summer. But man, the gray skies would absolutely zap me.
Yeah.
Just my energy. But so the great news is the sun is out. The good news today is that it's Wednesday, a hump day. So we are, after this, halfway through the week, right? And the better news is no cars on the canal today.
Not yet. It's early. It's only 8 o'clock.
Well, it's thawed out.
Sun goes down. Watch out, folks.
Let's hope that there are none on the canal. Good morning to you. That is Marc Dykton. My name is Jake Query. It is Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Imagine if you were a fish in that canal and a tire comes through.
I've always wondered this. When the water gets like 90% frozen, where do the fish go?
Farther down.
But what if it's all the way frozen?
Can it get all the way frozen?
I mean, why couldn't it?
I don't know.
If it's shallow water, if it's a shallow creek, and it's like in Buffalo right now, you think the creeks aren't all frozen all the way through solid?
I mean, it's like the geese. They fly down to Mexico. Maybe the fish, swim down.
You're talking about places with flowing water, though, and flowing water doesn't usually freeze in its entirety.
Yeah. Okay, then a small pond, a shallow pond.
I mean, if a pond is pretty deep usually, for that to all freeze.
Hence I said shallow.
Then there's probably not a fish in it.
You don't know that.
I hate to be shutting this down, but I feel as though the answers kind of write themselves.
I don't think that's the case.
Am I fired?
I'm just saying. I don't know. Do you work here?
I'm not pulling double duty.
For what it's worth. Pacers last night at the Fieldhouse. Winners 129-114 over the Atlanta Hawks. Buddy Hield was the catalyst with 28. He was 6 of 7 from three-point range. There has been so much talk. We talked about this last hour, but I wanted to circle back to it. There's this assumption by many, many people, and I'm not saying I'm not one of them, that Buddy Hield and Myles Turner are the two trading blocks that the Pacers will dangle to try to establish or get themselves more, quote-unquote, assets. And I think at the beginning of the year, there was probably some truth to that in terms of that intrigue. But as the season has gotten underway here, and I've always felt that it takes 25 games to find out who you are. And in the Pacers' case, they're about 10 games past that. And I think they are ahead of schedule. I think that it has come together for them at a faster rate than they thought. And at the beginning of the year, and I know I'm a broken record here, but I'm telling you, at the beginning of the season, the Pacers, for the first time ever that I've been around the team, now Mark Monteith might feel differently or have different recollection, but for the first time that I can recall, at the beginning of the year, the Pacers held an informal gathering for media. Alex Golden, I think, was there. Tony East was there. Charlie Clifford was there. I was there. Greg Doyle was there. And it was like a reception. They had like finger foods and shrimp laid out and crackers and a cheese spread and Diet Cokes. And Chad Buchanan and Kevin Pritchard met both informally and then kind of formally on the record for Q&A for the season. And the one thing that they said to all of us, listen, we just realized that we could continue to make tweaks and changes and continue to be a 7 seed. Or once we saw that we had a promising young player in Tyrese Halliburton, we could kind of scale it all the way down and build from the bottom up. And we are asking you guys and gals to understand that it's going to be a while. And everybody said, okay. And, of course, everyone's thinking they're going to try to enter the sweepstakes for Victor Wembanyama, I believe is how you say his last name. But, they're going to try to go through one more cycle of getting a top pick and just let these guys learn on the job. And they made no bone about the fact, listen, we might win 25 or 30 games.
Kevin's banking on that 30, by the way.
He is. And he's more than halfway there, right? Mm-hmm. And then the combination, I believe, of Tyrese Halliburton playing really well and they were very curious to see how others would feed off of him. But I think the Pacers know that part of the reason why it came together for them faster than they assumed is because of not only the maturity, but the molding of the game, the way that they play and intermixing of Myles Turner and Buddy Hield. And Aaron Nesmith and Tyrese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard and Chris Duarte, who are all young players. Duarte, I realize, is a little bit older, but who are all young in terms of their NBA career players. I think that they realize that what they've seen is that those guys can play and compete with one another, but the stick of it all, or the glue of it all that is keeping all of those guys playing well cohesively with one another are Buddy Hield and Myles Turner.
Yeah.
And so, Mark, I don't know that trading Myles Turner and Buddy Hield at this point is on the forefront of conversation like it might have been. And I heard there were other franchises that had interest in those guys. I never necessarily heard Indiana say they had interest in moving them.
No. I mean, you always heard, the Pacers and Lakers are going to make a trade. Why? Because the Pacers were going to take on Russell Westbrook's contract. That made no sense to me when it first came up. It definitely doesn't make sense to me now. But, yeah, I think even a month ago, like right around Thanksgiving, and so we were still hearing, it's only a matter of time before they trade Myles Turner and Buddy Hield. It's only a matter of time. And now you've kind of seen that they've strung some wins together. They're above 500. They're currently in the playoff race. It's very early, obviously. But you're seeing that, hey, they have some cohesion here. Maybe don't mess up with a good thing. Maybe these guys need the veteran leadership. Because if you trade those guys, not only are you kind of throwing in the towel for the season and you might hamper some development that you would get, but you're also kind of shunning the team in general if you get rid of those two guys that maybe are the glue of the team. Where all of a sudden, hey, now Benedict Mathurin, now Tyrese Halliburton, you have to take more on a leadership role because these two guys aren't here. And maybe they aren't up to the task yet. Maybe keep Myles Turner and Buddy Hield, let them keep going, see what can happen. I mean, I've been on the Buddy Hield train for a while. I've always liked him. I like what he's done so far. I mean, I don't think you win that game last night if you don't have Buddy Hield and his contributions. So,
if you watch, I mentioned this earlier, if you watch the Pacers and you watch other NBA games, other NBA teams, this is not a legitimate, fact stat, but it has a feel. It feels like the Pacers lead the league in number of players that rush to the aid of a player knocked to the floor and the amount of time it takes them to get there. And more often than not, I watched last night, there was a play where the Pacers Buddy Hield was in the backcourt, and I believe it was Tyrese Halliburton went to the rack and got fouled, and he missed. Atlanta got the rebound, and Buddy Hield was retreating in transition defense. And basically things came to a stop because there was a foul called or something, and Halliburton was down. Not down and out, but he was slow to get up. And Buddy Hield was in the opposite corner of the floor and sprinted sprinted down to meet with like Aaron Neesmith and it might have been Nimhard to lift Halliburton back up off the floor. And I mean, he would have done that. Little things like that go a long way, Mark.
Yeah.
They do.
It shows that there's team chemistry. It shows that they get along with each other. You don't see one guy kind of like, you get him this time or whatever. It's nice to see.
The other thing that I opened with this morning that I wanted to circle back to, and Taylor Tannebaum is going to join us, by the way, about 18 minutes from now. It's not a mea culpa, but it was an epiphany that I had on the way in. The number one team in college basketball, the number one team in the country, and one of, I believe, only 5 unbeatens left, is Purdue. And I think we've done Purdue fans a disservice. Not just me, not just you, not just Kevin, but the market in general. I have always said that the reason why, and I hope that Purdue fans understand this, but to circle back to it, the reason why Purdue gets less coverage than Indiana, the reason why the local newspaper has a beat writer for Indiana and not a star-paid beat writer designated for Purdue, etc., is because Indiana, the name of the school, is the name of the state we live in, and so therefore there's a higher percentage of fan base for Indiana that has no affiliation with the school than there would be for Purdue amongst people that have no affiliation with Purdue. More often than not, if you are a Purdue fan, it's because you have a direct familial or personal connection with the university, right? And in addition to that, Purdue has very specified degrees that are amongst the best in the country in engineering in particular and different sciences that then shotgun their graduates all across the country, whereas Indiana's more in a liberal arts standpoint are going to stay within central Indiana. So you have a higher alumni base as well. And supply and demand. If fans of said schools make up the majority of your readers, listeners, whatever else, you have to cater to their wants. That's why Indiana gets more coverage than Purdue. And this year we have done Purdue a disservice because Purdue is number one in the country. They're unbeaten. They have as impressive a resume as anybody in college basketball, and it is an indirect compliment and kudos to Matt Painter that Purdue is number one, and yet it's like we expect it, Mark. They lost. Trevion Williams was a really good player. Jaden Ivey was a lottery pick. They lost both of them, and they come back, and they're better than last year.
Yeah, everybody thought it was a transition year.
Right.
Yeah, and they rattled off wins over Gonzaga and Duke back-to-back games. And everybody's like, ho-hum, no big deal. It's like, what? So, yeah, number one for a reason. They've looked great so far. And they haven't missed a step, which is shocking considering who they lost in the offseason.
I just think it is a credit to Matt Painter that he has built a program now that has a stability and a consistency about it that has led us to just assume that this is where they would be. Like it's like, oh yeah, Purdue's number one. What? I mean, why are we not saying on a regular basis, like, you know, I mean, in 1993, Indiana was number one with Calbert Chaney and Greg Graham and Damon Bailey and Alan Henderson and Brian Evans and Pat Graham and Todd Lear. I can name their whole lineup. I can tell you what games they won. I can tell you, they went to Penn State and they almost lost, and it was Brian Evans had to hit a shot with 8.5 seconds to go in overtime, and then Damon Bailey. I mean, because they were number one, I remember everything about it. I don't know if it's, and then Purdue is number one in a remarkable accomplishment, and we're just like, yeah, okay, which is a kudos to Matt Painter because it's like, yeah, this is what he does, right?
Yeah, no one's surprised. It's not catching anyone off guard. It's kind of like, oh yeah, that's not a surprise, even though everybody's writing it off, to begin with.
David joins us, been waiting patiently, I think, on the Colts conversation. What's up, David? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, guys. How you doing? It's your favorite caller, Dave. Hey, I think we just
now that's
really
presumptuous, Dave. Do you know for a fact that you are my favorite caller?
Yeah, because you told me to tell you next time I call in. You're going to have the PBRs, you remember?
That's true. I think you do pat him on the back quite a bit.
You are back. Yeah, that's right. You're part of the PBR party, right?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, I like that. I like the energy, Dave, so you are correct. My apologies. I take it back, mea culpa. It was not presumptuous. It was factual.
You're good. Hey, I just think we've been really spoiled. In the 80s, we had some great racing. When Colts came in town in the 90s, had some phenomenal basketball with IU and and the Pacers, and then in '98 the Sheriff came into town and started that up. Then now we just got nobody going on. Ever since 2019, 20, sports has kind of been like blah. You know what I mean? We got that team up in West Lafayette I can't mention because I'm a big IU fan, but sports is blah right now. You know what I mean?
But David, you got to give some credit to Purdue, right?
Oh, I give them a lot of credit, but I just can't mention their name because Bobby Knight and Jesus Christ is right neck to neck in my household. You know what I mean?
Okay.
David, whose call did you just ignore while you were talking to us?
My wife's.
Oh,
you guys are
boy.
more important right now.
You're going to be in trouble, David.
I know. She'll be all right. She'll call back about 5 minutes.
Are you alive? Yeah, I was calling sports radio.
David, I have said before, and how old a guy are you? You're about my age, right?
Yeah, I'm about 42, 43.
Okay,
42
so
and a half.
Well, I'm glad that you think that's about my age.
Do you bang on the glass when the sun comes out?
Always.
Yeah, see, David knows what's up, man. He knows what's up. Listen, in my opinion, the greatest sports year in this town, and this is going back a little bit, but he's right. The greatest sports year in this city of my lifetime was 1987. Marion won their third straight state title. The Pan Am Games were here. The Colts traded for Eric Dickerson, which was the first superstar to play here. The Pacers drafted Reggie Miller. Al Unser Sr. won his fourth Indianapolis 500, which was a huge, huge accomplishment, an event nationwide. You know, everybody's like, oh my gosh, a second four-time winner. Indiana won the national championship. Ernie Jones was playing for Indiana football, who had defeated Michigan and Ohio State in the same season. Rod Woodson had just been drafted out of Purdue, the Fort Wayne native that went on into the NFL in Pittsburgh and made a splash immediately. Tim Brown won the Heisman Trophy. Notre Dame was on their way to later winning a national championship. And I don't know in that era that we understood how great we had it. He's right. He's right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally everything that we hang our hat on. The Indianapolis Indians, by the way, had won the second of what I think was 4 straight American Association championships. Like the Indianapolis Ice, I believe that year won the Turner Cup. I don't know that we knew how good we had it. And now, we're in transitional periods for the franchises. It is fascinating to me that it was thought that this was going to be the year that the Colts were going to carry the city and the Pacers were going to be in transition. And the Colts are in a total transition. And I looked last night, and Marc, that place was packed.
Yeah, they said the biggest crowd of the year.
It was packed.
You think that had anything to do with Trae Young, or the fact that it was, everybody's kind of kicking work this week?
I think it's the latter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to know. As a matter of fact, I always do these polls. If people want to text me, or you can tweet me at Jake Query, or you can text me at 317-523-9288. But I want to know if people are working today, and if they're working this week. Doesn't it kind of feel like here?
Oh, no one's here in the building.
Like people are kind of working from home, right? 523-9288. But I'd like to know where people are listening from, if they're on their way to work. Like David, clearly he wasn't at home because his wife was calling him. What was his wife calling him for at 8:20?
I don't know.
Would that be of concern to you?
Did you go to the grocery store? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if your wife's calling at 8:20.
Did you close the garage? Because I didn't.
Wouldn't that be of concern? Like something's up?
He was on hold with us. I mean, he was worth waiting for, I guess.
How did you know that he was getting another call?
You didn't hear it? You could hear doot, doot.
Did you really?
Yeah, you could hear it. Yeah.
It must have been the left ear because I don't have it in stereo with these headsets.
Oh, I don't know what you're doing then. But yeah, no, I heard the call waiting coming in, like call or incoming call. So I heard it and I was like, I wonder who he's ignoring. And it's his wife, which that's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if that pays off for him.
Somebody said, hey, Jake, it was Christmas gift season. That's the only reason, for example, people were at the Colts game. I said, can you imagine?
Yeah, that had to be.
I feel bad. I really do feel bad for the folks that, like in September, bought 2 tickets for the Colts-Chargers Monday night game and thought, like, oh my gosh, this will be the perfect gift for like,
day after Christmas.
I mean,
they're gonna be jacked.
Think about how much those tickets were.
Yeah.
And then by the time, and so you're so excited, right? Oh my gosh, like, did I tell you what I got, Albert for Christmas?
Check your stocking, Albert.
And then literally by and it came, the deterioration was quick.
Oh, yeah.
So all of a sudden by Thanksgiving, you're like, oh my gosh. And Albert's been talking for a month about how he's done with this team. He's not going to watch them anymore. He's totally over it. Albert's the biggest Colts fan I know, and you can't even mention the Colts without him getting angry. And how am I going to tell him that he's got tickets for the game?
And I paid good money for them.
I paid good money back in September.
That's I saw a video because the parents that pranked the kids on Christmas. I'm always like, that's dirty pool. But it was a dad had put a PlayStation 5 box under the Christmas tree, and the two sons went crazy. And they started ripping the box open, and it was like a PS4 or something. And the kid looked at it, and he threw it. And the dad's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, you kind of asked for it, man. What are you doing to that kid?
Haven't you ever seen the videos, though, of the spoiled kids that open the thing and what? This is NBA 2K. I want it. And you're like, okay, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
like if someone got the Colts Chargers tickets. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
The hell am I supposed to do with this, Dad?
Time for a morning checkdown, by the way.
The Morning Checkdown, brought to you by Ball State Basketball. Get your tickets at ballstatesports.com on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Last night at the Fieldhouse, Pacers 129-114 of the Atlanta Hawks. Star of the game. Although, you know what? O'Shea Brisset played really well for them off the bench. Tyrese Halliburton had 23, but Buddy Hield got off to a quick start. He had 28 points. He was 6 of 7 from three-point range. Rick Carlisle, your thoughts on Buddy Hield?
Well, if you saw his daily routine, you'd have a really good idea. I mean, he just, he lives for the game. He lives for, running around and getting open shots and trying to knock them in. I mean, we break up from halftime. He sprints out to the floor and starts feeling that ball and starts shooting. You watch him during timeouts. He's grabbing the ball and he just is fully engaged in his craft all the time. And I just, I look at him and, Lloyd and I were talking about it during one of the timeouts, and we both just kind of looked at each other and simultaneously said, that guy's special, and that's how we see him.
Played special last night, no question about it. Other winners in the association: Lakers, Wizards, Celtics, Clippers, Suns, Thunder, Warriors, and Nuggets. But the big story was in Dallas. Luka Doncic, 60 points, 21 rebounds, and 10 assists. Mavs have won 4 straight. Let me say that again. Luka Doncic, 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. Perhaps nothing more impressive than when the game was on the line, he intentionally missed a free throw down 2. Got the putback, put it in at the buzzer to force overtime. Mavs beat the Knicks by 5.
That dance was something special, too.
Well, it was that.
NFL, we're waiting for week 16, week 17 now is going to kick off. Cowboys Titans on Thursday night. That should be an interesting one. There's some playoff implications with both of those teams. Some interesting news, though. The Commanders going back to Carson Wentz to start at quarterback against the Browns this weekend. So that'll be interesting. And then the J.J. Watt announcing that he will retire at the end of the season. He's only 33 years old. Spent most of his time with the Texans. He's been with the Cardinals. Now they are off to a horrible season.
Spent most of his time on IR, right?
Yeah, he had a rough season, but 33 years old. He's going to hang it up at the end of the season. That was the one that was making waves throughout the NFL this week, yesterday.
College basketball last night. Notre Dame 59-43. Too bad Kevin's not here to celebrate his Irish getting a win. They are now 8-5. They snap a 3-game skid. Ball State tonight at 7 o'clock hosting Chicago State. That game at Worthern Arena. Cards come in at 8-4. Michael Lewis's group has won 4 straight.
Bowl game winners yesterday in college football. Buffalo, Memphis, East Carolina, and Wisconsin all won their respective bowl games tonight. UCF against Duke, Kansas against Arkansas, Oregon takes on North Carolina, and Texas Tech takes on Ole Miss. So that's your bowl schedule.
When we come back, yesterday we were doing the show, and all of a sudden I said, Taylor Tannebaum just sent an interesting tweet. The former WTHR anchor reporter, friend of the show, she is now in Charlotte with the ACC Network. I wanted her to expand a little bit on her opinions or observations regarding Chris Ballard and his relationship with the Colts locker room from Taylor's time here in Indianapolis. That conversation will be next. It's Kevin and Query here. Marc Dykton in for Kevin on a Wednesday.
Tavern Tour 22, brought to you by Evan Williams, continues Thursday at Joe's Grill in Castleton. Join JMP this Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. Great vibes in Evan Williams. Joe's Grill in Castleton.
Be ready for snow at the Mower Shop in Fishers with a gas or electric Toro snowblower and prepare for mowing season with discounts on select Spartan mowers. 317-849-9500 and themowershop.com.
Jake Query here for the DraftKings Sportsbook app, which is my go-to when betting on the NBA this holiday season. I love the NBA during the holidays, and what better way to accentuate that fun than same-game wagers on any of the NBA games, and for you Pacer fans, a no-sweat bet on every Pacer game this December. That's right. This month, everyone can earn a no-sweat bet with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Head to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in under the promos tab, and place an eligible bet of your choice on a Pacer game. And even if it doesn't hit, you're going to get your money back in a free bet. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook app is where to go to bet on the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can sign up with a promo code 1075FAN and get a no-sweat bet on every Pacer game this December. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and opt in today to receive this limited-time offer only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Indiana Pacers. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only. Max reward limits apply. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing bet. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehawk, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
Lions, Tigers, and tailgates. Oh my. The college football season is always a great time of year. Besides the jerseys, the face paint, and the foam fingers, there's the food. And nothing gets you more fired up for game day than Eckrich smoked sausage. They're naturally hardwood smoked and have the perfect blend of spices. From buffalo sausage dip to sausage chili mac and cheese, Eckrich smoked sausage is a quick way to bring flavor to all your tailgate meals. Visit Eckrich.com for easy, one-of-a-kind sausage recipes. Eckrich, you do you.
Hi guys, it's Marc. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, December 28th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pine Grove Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 317-552-1111. That's 317-552-1111. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pine Grove Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday. 317-552-1111.
You changed the head coach, same result. You changed the offensive coordinator, same result. You changed the quarterback, same result.
If you're talking about it,
The embarrassing performance. This offense either is not very talented or is completely checked out.
We're talking about it.
offense is absolutely horrific.
Just completely, inexcusably, embarrassingly flat.
3 different quarterbacks. Your home for Indy sports. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
8:30. By the way, I sounded really like nasally stopped up in those promos. Do I always sound that nasally stopped up? I'm not stopped up.
Not usually, but the sun wasn't out. Now it is, and you've gone wild.
I'm telling you, it's a huge difference for me. Like I love Indiana.
I mean, you had an out-of-body experience that I witnessed when you saw the sun.
I haven't seen it like
pretty wild.
I'm like Andy Dufresne. Are you kidding me?
Got out of solitary
in 1967. Yeah,
Andy Dufresne was a friend of mine.
I was like, holy cow, man. Yesterday we were doing the show. As a matter of fact, 8:45, so almost exactly 24 hours ago, when Bob Kravitz sent a tweet that said, Kravitz, Ballard hasn't earned a 7th season with the Colts, but he's getting it. Probably. And our friend Taylor Tannebaum, a friend of the program, who was with WTHR for the last few seasons and is now the host of ACC PM on the ACC Network, responded to that by saying, fractured relationships with so many key players, how can he possibly be kept? And Taylor and I, at least from my standpoint, Taylor and I are friends, so I reached out to her and said, hey, you know what, do you want to come on the show just to hang out anyway? And then I had to pay her, and she said, sure. And so she joins us now on the Payless Liquors hotline. First off, Taylor, good to talk to you. How are you?
Hey, guys. I miss you terribly, first and foremost. Good morning. Hi, Indianapolis. I also never thought that when I responded to Bob's tweet, it would just, cause such a stir. But here I am. Is it Wednesday? This is a weird week of the year that nobody knows what day it is.
It is Wednesday.
Right?
Yes. No, you are correct.
But good morning. And I would consider us friends too, Jake.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, I don't know if you heard the excitement before we get to it, Taylor, since you've left Indianapolis. Yesterday, some lady went driving down the canal.
I saw that.
Yeah. She's okay, I think.
The video is wild.
It is a little. She said her GPS led her there, and I thought, well, that actually somewhat makes sense because it was so frozen over. Maybe if you weren't from here, you wouldn't realize that you were not on a road. But then I realized that you had to drive down like a 30-foot hill to get to it.
Yeah. That's not easy access. Not to mention, your tires should be sliding on ice. So
Yeah, I mean, pretty good traction, really. It was fairly impressive.
I think I read she was not all there, so that makes a little more sense.
Alcohol might have been a factor. Okay, Taylor, speaking of gaining traction, your tweet did a little of that, and I want to make sure that people understand during your time. You were at WTHR for how long exactly?
4 years.
Okay. So during that time, you developed, you were, I thought, very... you had very professional and very good contacts and relationships within the organization, not just with players, but I think your professionalism was respected that allowed you to probably get some information and access. So that's why I took your tweet, not to like blow it up more than it was, but I took it as very credible. And so I wanted to give you the opportunity to expand on it.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm no Kevin Bowen, but with that being said, I've had conversations with people, and it's not just been this week or this month. It's been a little bit over time. And I would say since that loss last year, the Raiders and Jacksonville, things have kind of started to deteriorate. And I don't think that's news to anybody who is following the Colts or is a fan of the Colts or, is media covering the Colts. That's just the fact of the matter. So when I said that, I've been speaking to people that the moral of the story is this. The way the season ended last year, the 4 quarterbacks in multiple years, the revolving door there's frustration. There's real frustration. I wouldn't say the locker room's broken because I think the guys still love each other. I just think that I'm not so sure that things can be done to salvage certain relationships in that locker room with the people up above. I didn't think this was anything people didn't already know, but I would say, there's a lack of trust. We all have bosses sometimes that we work for that it gets to a point where it boils over and it's frustration and you just don't necessarily get along with that person anymore or believe everything that's coming out of their mouth, or it's just time for a breakup. And that's why I said that, is because there are some key players in that locker room, let me tread lightly, who are frustrated, who don't necessarily trust what's going on in there and would maybe rather say, I got to go. And that's why I find it, let me preface this by saying I like Chris and Kristen Ballard. I think what they've done in the community is great. I would never want to see anyone lose their job. It's just gotten to a point with conversations that I've had that I'm not sure it's fixable. And to continue, insanity is the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I'm not sure that it's great for the franchise to continue on the same path.
Do you think, so let me begin by asking this, Taylor. Taylor Tannebaum is our guest with the ACC Network, formerly of WTHR. Do you believe that the fracture that you're talking about, or the lack of trust, does that come from players just simply not seeing results in the approach, or does it come from the way that they believe that they were spoken to or addressed in a disrespectful fashion?
No, I don't think disrespectful. That is not the vibe I ever got. It's frustration in the fact that this has been years. Look, I know the retirement of Andrew Luck really screwed things up, but it has been years now. And the communication, whatever's been communicated between the two, is a little bit off. Just like a lack of trust is what the word that I've heard is trust. There's a lack of trust. And whether that be, there's other key players I'm sure that have great relationships with him, but the ones that I've spoken to are frustrated, especially with the top down. And, the Frank Reich thing is one situation. I think everyone has their own opinion on that. Never really got into that. But from the top down, there's frustration that, hey, I don't know that I necessarily even want to be here anymore because they feel like there's a lack of trust, the bridge of trust. I wouldn't say that it's a disrespectful thing. It's just the way things have panned out over the last several years.
Taylor, it's Marc Dykton. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I think this is our first interaction. But on Monday Night Countdown, Jim Irsay was quoted as saying that Chris Ballard will be the GM in 2023. So why do you think Irsay is seemingly set on bringing Ballard back despite these fractured relationships? I'm sure he's had to have heard at least whispers that there might be some, disagreements with players on the team. So why be so dead set on bringing Chris back, do you think?
Because it's familiar, because you can say one thing now and obviously it can change in the future. And with everything else being so unstable, that's the one thing you've got, right? And I do think if you have a guy in place already and you're the big boss and you're still able to do what you want to do as the big boss, as Jim Irsay is, as the owner of the team, why would you change that? You do have some creative control in that sense. I think he obviously has a say in a lot of things that happen, so I'm not so sure he wants to change that. And I do think Chris is a good guy. I think at the core of it, I think that he got the short end of the stick with what happened in 19 now? I don't remember what year it was, 2019. It's just been years now since that has happened, and it just feels like it's a hamster wheel. I would say it's just because, as the boss and the owner, is still having creative control with a guy like Chris Ballard in place, you don't necessarily want to change that.
Taylor, I feel like a couple of things here that you touched on there. Taylor Tannebaum is our guest on the Payless Snickers hotline. I do feel like for Jim Irsay, having a general manager in place that allows for Jim Irsay to still, he's the owner. He can do as he pleases. I mean, credit to him there, right? Mm-hmm. But Jim Irsay was I have said this theory probably daily for a couple of months now. Jim Irsay was a general manager. Matter of fact, the last time that the Colts, what did I read a stat in terms of their offensive ineptitude? The last time that they went 4 straight games without, I can't remember what the stat was, but it was 1993 was the last time they were offensively this inept. 1993 was the last time Jim Irsay was the general manager. He was the GM of the team at that time. They did not have a great run when he was the GM. And I feel like that Jim Irsay has always, understandably so, wanted to kind of make good on that. And so therefore it's important for him to have a general manager that he can usurp from time to time with his influence, as opposed to someone like a Bill Polian that he, kind of sat back and let run the show, and that he enjoys being able to have that interaction and that influence. Is that kind of on par with what you're saying?
I agree with that. And you're seeing a lot of the statements that are being made. I'm obviously not there anymore, so I keep up as best as I can, but it's very clear he's had a strong hand in every decision that's been made, as he should. He's the owner, but stronger maybe than most you would necessarily see.
So I would assume, Taylor Tannebaum, our guest, you're down in Charlotte now with the ACC Network, but safe to say that because of your time here, 4 years here, you left here when? At the beginning of the football season?
Yeah, right in the middle of, towards the end of training camp. So it's been a wild ride watching it from the outside looking in, I'll say that.
But you still maintained the kind of professional contacts and relationships where that in other words, I want to make clear to people that this isn't you going off something that somebody said to you in July. I mean, you still have, and you still are working in a football capacity.
Absolutely. I talk to people still from inside the organization. I have conversations. I ask questions, too, because, for me, I'm not there anymore, so it's so hard to gauge it when you're not in the locker room and you're not hanging out in the media room and hearing what people are talking about and in the community. So, yes, these are conversations I've had over the last couple of months as it's unraveled, recently here. And I want to reiterate, this isn't every key player. I'm not saying every key player on this team wants out and wants to go. What I'm saying is there are relationships with the general manager that when I say fractured, I mean there's a lack of trust. There's a frustration level that, to my knowledge, has boiled over a bit, and it's going to be hard to patch those up, which is my surprise that you continue when you're going to fire the head coach and you're going to, move people around him and you're going to do all of these other things. That to me is a confusing thing to stick with, knowing he's the decision maker. There are contracts to be had. There are conversations to be had that may not go the right direction because of how things have panned out over the last few months.
So now you've seen this team from a bit of a distance this year. What's been the biggest head scratcher for you this season?
The offensive line, I guess you would say, because that is not a conversation we were having heading into the season. It was one of the best in the league, the highest paid offensive line. You have all pros on the line. And, I know the left tackle conversation was real. It was very real, but I don't think we expected it to be this bad. You expected to have at least maybe some options. They obviously aren't Anthony Costanzo, but they're options. And they're certainly better than Fisher, as we thought. And then the quarterback play, because to be fair, I was one of the people who was saying during camp, wow, he has so much control of this offense, Matt Ryan. There's just a different level of confidence. You can see it. The ball comes out quicker. It's so accurate. And it was. It was during camp. We were watching with our own two eyes. It's not like we were turned around blindfolded, just, going off of sound. We were watching it with our own two eyes. So that to me is wild. I do think it's a byproduct of what's happening up front. But certainly those two things, I think the defense has been outstanding, even without Shaq. I know, there's a couple of guys hurt right now, but they're doing the best that they possibly can, I think, with the situation that they have. But up front would be the most confusing thing to me. I just don't know how that fall off happened.
In your opinion, should Jeff Saturday be a candidate for long-term head coach at the end of the season?
Hey, I mean, sure. Look, I have spoken to some people who actually really like being in the locker room with him because he's a locker room dude. I don't think that's any surprise. He's a good guy who knows he's still young. He knows what it's like to be a player. So I don't think that's surprising. At this point, you should put every card on the table, right? If all chips are going to be in, every card should be on the table too.
All chips are in. We know that.
All chips are going to be in. Every card should be on the table too. And, this sample size shouldn't necessarily – he inherited something that was already broken, so I don't know that's necessarily a good sample size to base him off of. Now, how the culture changes internally, I think, is important too, to base him off of. You're going to see how he gets guys to play, period, whether it's scheme or not. How people respond to him is an important thing to look at, and I obviously don't see that from day to day. So sure, why not consider him? You should have every option on the table.
Taylor, lastly, since you were born and raised in South Florida,
yeah.
You worked in Alabama, then you came to Indianapolis, spent 4 years here. You're now in Charlotte at the ACC Network. So I want your perspective on this. Aside from, of course, the wonderful people, tell me the thing about Indianapolis, Indiana, that while you were living here, you didn't necessarily fully appreciate, that now that you're gone, you want to let the people of Indianapolis know that they need to take advantage of.
Ooh, that's a good question. The biggest change for me is because I'm not working in local TV anymore. I'm more of at a network level now that I don't have that sense of community. I would just say these quaintness of Indianapolis still being a big city is something I definitely took for granted, just in general. Like, everybody knows each other, even though it's still a big city. And truly it is that Hoosier hospitality. It's just different. And I say it all the time. I never thought I'd feel like that, but I do miss Indianapolis and I miss the people there. So really just the quaintness of it being a big, small, big city and just the community of it. You don't really find community like that everywhere. Even though I've been here really only for 4 or 5 months, it's just a very different vibe. Everyone's a transplant. There in Indy, you have some transplants, but there's still a lot of home cooking, home feel to it. So that's certainly what I do miss. And I do want the Colts to be good, for the record. I watch every Sunday and I watch Monday night, and come on.
Hey, is the kid from Wake Forest, the quarterback that's transferring, going to go to Notre Dame?
That is rumor on the street. Pete Thamel reporting that for ESPN. If I were to put my money on it, I would say that's a great that's a great get and a likely destination, so it seems. And the people in South Bend and Notre Dame fans will absolutely love Sam Hartman. He is the cream of the crop. He works his tail off, and his numbers speak for itself. He's a leading passer in ACC history when it comes to touchdowns thrown, total yards, passing Phillip Rivers for a couple of those, Taj Boyd. So some greats. So they're getting a good one in South Bend if that does come to fruition, but that's what it's looking like.
Taylor, it's been a pleasure. We miss you here, but I appreciate the perspective and the insights, and give Mitch a pat for us. That's Taylor's dog, by the way.
Who misses you so much. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate you, and go Colts, go Pacers, right?
All right.
Go IU, Purdue, all the good stuff, Butler.
We'll tell them. And Notre Dame, of course, as well. Taylor, appreciate it. Taylor Tannebaum on the Payless Snickers hotline. Again, ACC Network, part of the ESPN family, and ACC PM, where you can see her work. Alex Golden, easy for me to say, going to join us 13 minutes from now. Talk a little Pacers. It is Kevin and Query.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehawk, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowes.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
Lions, Tigers, and tailgates. Oh my. The college football season is always a great time of year. Besides the jerseys, the face paint, and the foam fingers, there's the food. And nothing gets you more fired up for game day than Eckrich smoked sausage. They're naturally hardwood smoked and have the perfect blend of spices. From buffalo sausage dip to sausage chili mac and cheese, Eckrich smoked sausage is a quick way to bring flavor to all your tailgate meals. Visit Eckrich.com for easy, one-of-a-kind sausage recipes. Eckrich, you do you.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Hey, it's JMV, and I have your New Year's Eve plans locked down with Yacht Rock Review coming to the Mural Old National Center. ring in 2023 with these smooth and incredible sounds, and the party is on with Yacht Rock Review. Tickets starting under $25. Log on for Yacht Rock Review, livenation.com today.
The Pacers host the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You are listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query on this Hump Day Wednesday. I'm Marc Dykton, in for Kevin Bone, who's doing the gritty on some beach in Florida. Jake Query along for the ride.
Doing the what?
The gritty. Oh, come on. You know what that is. You've seen Justin Jefferson do it like 10 times this season.
Okay, now I know what it is.
Yeah. Come on, man.
No, that's what it's called.
Yeah, the gritty.
That sounds, I don't know.
Too cool for school?
No.
I would. I mean, if the sun comes out tomorrow, I want to see you do the gritty. You might tear something, but I'd like to see you do it.
You saw me doing it earlier, pretty much.
Boy, that was wild to see. I wish the cameras were on to see that part. That was crazy. Yeah, just talked to Taylor Tannebaum, talked to a little Colts, got a little insight there. We got Alex Golden coming up in a matter of minutes. He's going to talk Pacers as they beat the Atlanta Hawks last night. I want to get some insight on Buddy Hield when we talk to Alex in just a little bit. Any takeaways from what Taylor said?
It's funny. Somebody last night sent a tweet that was like, why would we believe anybody from WTHR? Like, they don't even do sports anymore. And I'm like, well, first off, that's not necessarily accurate. But in my opinion, there are a number of people actually that are pretty plugged in this town when it comes to covering the Colts. Kevin, as much as, if not more so than anybody. I mean, he worked there, for crying out loud. But she would be in the upper quartile of upper quartiles in terms of having knowledge and relationships that would be accurate. So I think she's extremely credible in what she was saying. And I think it was very easy to I think she made a really good point. It has nothing to do with anything from and I thought it was very good that she clarified, look, I'm not saying that Chris Ballard has been disrespectful or unlikable per se, but simply more so the fact that players just at this point have seen the same thing over and over and are just ready for, a new voice. And that happens sometimes to really good people that do a really good job. I mean, it happens in coaching. You know, what did Larry Bird say in coaching? That you need a new coach every 5 years because people's voice, you start to tune it out. I hope that's not the case with radio hosts.
Oh boy, we'd be in trouble if that's the case. I think it's for a longer conversation, but I do find it funny that the debacle that has been this Colts season was not good enough for Frank Reich to stick around, but it'd be good enough for Chris Ballard, even though he put his stamp on a lot of things, particularly the offensive line, the left tackle situation. Don't worry about it; it's fine. We trust we trust Matt Ryan and everything that go forward. A lot of decisions being made. And again, if Chris Ballard does come back in 2023, he's not just coming back for 2023, I don't believe. Because you're making another draft class decision. You're possibly
with the most important position.
And probably picking the next franchise quarterback that you hope is the franchise quarterback of the team, but the next quarterback at a very high pick. And then you also got to make contract decisions. Jonathan Taylor coming up. So there are decisions coming up that if Chris Ballard sticks around, he's making long-term decisions for this franchise.
Yeah. And, the thorn, I guess, or the feather in the cap of insult for a lot of the last year for people, and I'm going to side with Chris Ballard on this one. I will defend Chris Ballard here. I think Chris Ballard made the right decision in not retaining, retaining is the wrong word, and not re-signing T.Y. Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
But it had to irk those that thought the Colts should have brought back T.Y. Hilton had to be irked to see that T.Y. Hilton, in his first game back after watching high school football for a year, goes out and records a reception that is longer than any that the Colts have had this year.
I'm sure it did.
That could not have settled well, right?
I think T.Y. played his cards right, though. Sat out most of the football season, wanted to watch his son play high school ball. Season ended. He's like, okay, maybe I'll get back out there, go play for a contender, and he lands with the Cowboys, and he's going to be a contributor for a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I just, when the narrative was, hey, listen, T.Y. Hilton, we don't need to address the receiver position at all. I think they should have addressed receiver position.
Yes.
I just don't. T.Y. Hilton was, so I'm going to defend Ballard in the fact of not going with T.Y. Hilton with it, but nonetheless, that had to sting because he heard so much about it.
But
right?
what they would have, what T.Y. Hilton would have been asked to do for the Colts as opposed to what he's going to be asked to do with the Cowboys is night and day. Because he would have been carrying the load for this team this season, and what's truly been a gut wrench season. Whereas the Cowboys, they got CeeDee Lamb, they got Michael Gallup. He's like
CeeDee Lamb can play, man.
Oh yeah, the workload is far less in Dallas than what it would have been in Indianapolis.
Hey Jake, do you think the lack of trust from players stops with Ballard, or does it go up to the owner? That part's, and I don't mean this to sound snarky or like a jerk. That's irrelevant though. Owner ain't changing, right? Yeah. Owner ain't leaving.
Owner can't fire himself.
I do think they like the owner. I think Irsay's a well-liked and respected guy because I think they know that Irsay wants to win football games, first and foremost. Alex Golden next.
Happy New Year! The Colts spend New Year's Day in New York. Well, technically, it's in New Jersey. It's the Colts and Giants Sunday from MetLife. Pre-game at 10, kickoff at 1 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
97.1 Hank FM is Indy's #1 for new country.
Trying to catch a good time.
And catch the Colts each game day starting an hour before kickoff on your home for Colts football. 97.1 Hank FM.
Dan Dockage for Affinity Whole Health. Affinity is the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy, and I got to tell you, I see why. Since I started a testosterone replacement program with Affinity, my energy, mental focus, drive, everything is up, and the physical benefits are amazing. Check them out at feelgreatindy.com. Guys, you can improve the way you look, the way you feel. You can build muscle and lose fat. Affinity will give you the roadmap. Go to feelgreatindy.com. That's feelgreatindy.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Hello, Richard Michaelis, President of Michaelis Corporation, wishing you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. For over 3 decades, the Michaelis team has helped Central Indiana families and businesses facing fire, water, and storm damage. And because emergencies don't take days off, neither do we. If the unexpected happens this holiday season, we're here for you with our 24/7 rapid disaster response service. Because life happens, water, storms, fire, and foundations, make it Michaelis. 844-FIX-INDY.
Hey, it's Big Joe for Absolute Comfort, your trusted independent American Standard Air dealer. Owner Chris Wettikin sells the ductless Mitsubishi Electric Mini Split, which is a clean and extremely energy-efficient way to heat and cool a specific area.
These systems don't run the air through the ductwork, which is where a lot of your dust and allergies and other displeasing smells come from. And maybe best of all, you're not circulating viruses throughout the home.
Find out more at AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted independent American Standard Air Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. The Colts close out their road schedule when they face the New York Giants. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So Kevin Bowen will be out the rest of the week. He is enjoying his family time in Florida. Hope that you folks are enjoying some family time as well in this holiday season. Marc Dykton capably filling in, Sam Fritz running the big board for us, and Alex Golden now joins us on the Payless Liquors hotline, as he does periodically, to talk about the blue and gold and the Indiana Pacers. And Alex, let's begin with this. Was last night Buddy Hield's finest performance of the year thus far?
I think it's got to be up there. Buddy's played really awesome this season. So last night, seeing him get going like he did was pretty special.
You know, I was telling Marc this. It feels like to me, with Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, I'll put in the same category, but we'll focus on Buddy Hield for now because last night, 28, 6 of 7 from three-point range, scored in lightning in a bottle type scoring, which is kind of what he does. But there has been so much talk about Buddy Hield being a trade piece, but it feels to me like that talk has been very one-sided. Alex, I want you to correct me. I don't recall the Pacers necessarily ever saying that Buddy Hield was a piece they were dangling. It felt to me more like people were coming to the store to find out if Buddy Hield was available for sale.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think in the latest report from Shams Charania, it was mentioned that teams have showed interest in Buddy Hield, but they didn't list any of the teams, and obviously, it didn't say the Pacers were looking to trade him. So I think with that, it is fair to say the Pacers value him, and other teams are really valuing what he's doing with Indiana. I think he's kind of revived his NBA career here in Indiana, and teams are taking notice of that. So it's probably why there is a lot of interest. But, yeah, I haven't heard anything in terms of what the Pacers are thinking long-term. But I think it's kind of easy to read the tea leaves a little bit and see how many guards they have on the roster and kind of make an assumption that, hey, maybe he could be available because of the youth movement that they're wanting to take, or that at least they've expressed they were going to take at the beginning of the season.
Alex Golden of the Setting the Pace podcast, joining us on Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Alex, I'm one of the guys who likes Buddy Hield a lot. I think he brings a lot around this team, not only leadership, but obviously he can score in bunches when he's on. He's one of the elder statesmen of the teams at 30 years old, but I think he's got plenty of run left. Is it crazy to think that they could hang on to him, or is that just me like talking crazy right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can look at this, and I think if you're trying to look long-term here, the starting shooting guard position is probably going to be Benedict Mathurin. We've seen how awesome he's been his rookie season. He's had some downs recently over the past couple of weeks. It's part of hitting that rookie wall, but I still think what you've seen from him so far, you have to be really intrigued. So for me personally, I've got to think long-term with Buddy, and I'm not saying him and Mathurin can't play together, but I do think that with how much Buddy likes to score, will that stunt the growth of Benedict Mathurin? So in that regard, if you're looking at it from that perspective, it does kind of make sense to look to shop him, especially while he's playing so well, because I don't think his value is going to get much higher than it already is. But at the same time, if Buddy would be willing to accept a bench role moving forward once Mathurin takes that starting position, I think that could be very beneficial for the Pacers to have a leader like that can put buckets up, like Jake said, lightning in a bottle, off the bench, and kind of be that steady guide off the bench as well. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I think long-term, you're wanting to see as much of Halliburton and Mathurin moving forward as you can. And as great as Buddy has been, I just think the ceiling is higher for what Mathurin can become than what Buddy is right now.
Yeah, I think if he accepted a bench role, that'd be bonuses for the Pacers and everything. A listener brought it to our mentioned it with the Buddy Hield talk. He said, "How much younger can we get on a roster that is so young that if you do flip him for draft picks, I mean, you're getting younger again, and you're hoping to replace those points that he's bringing to the table." So, is there some essence there that it's worth keeping him around for not only the veteran aspect of it, but just the points that he's giving it, especially if he accepts a bench role?
No, I mean, I think it makes sense to want to keep him around. Like, they've said nothing but great things about him. You listen to Sacramento fans, they couldn't stand the guy. He kind of requested a trade out there. It was just not a good marriage out there in Sacramento, but he's found a home here in Indiana. I think Rick Carlisle really likes him, and I think his voice has a lot of weight with what the Pacers decide to do moving forward. I just think about Buddy Hield, and I think to myself, when we got this guy, a lot of people didn't expect him to be as valuable to the Pacers as he has been. And I think you can make a good case that we're 18 and 17 because of Buddy Hield's play this year. I mean, he's been fantastic for the majority of the season. Even when he hasn't been the go-to guy. I always go back to that game in Golden State when we had a lot of starters out. He was playing with the young guys, and that was the Nembhard game. But when that game got close, that's when Buddy took over with hitting 2 big threes, and I think you need that. It's kind of similar to what the Rockets have done with Eric Gordon, their unwillingness to really part with him while everybody thought he was going to be traded the last 2 seasons. So I can see the Pacers hanging on to him for that. But, yeah, I really do like his fit potentially as a sixth man, because I think if he can accept that role, then the Pacers they're in a good place moving forward.
Alex Golden is our guest. He's on the Payless Liquors hotline. Alex, has Isiaah Jackson fallen out of rotation because of something that other players are doing or because of something he's not?
Good question. I would say it's probably more the latter. I just think he's an okay rebounder. He doesn't really do anything besides dunk the basketball. We really haven't seen him try to stretch the floor. And with the way Carlisle likes to play, spreading the floor, Jalen Smith, while he's not been a great three-point shooter, he is a more competent three-point shooter than Isiaah Jackson, has given him the edge. And obviously Jalen Smith was brought here to be the starter. That's why he re-signed, was because of the opportunity to get that playing time. And they've already kind of taken that starting position away from him because he's been struggling this year. But Isiaah Jackson, he's a good defender, but he fouls a lot, which is something he needs to work on. We know that he's a great lob threat, and we know that he has pretty good hands in catching those lobs. And defensively, he's got upside too. I would love to see more of Isiaah Jackson with Jalen or with Myles, just to allow him to play maybe some of the 4, because those guys can shoot, so you can at least have one guy in the dunker spot. But I just feel like right now, Neesmith has played great and Brisset's played great, and because of their playing so well at the 4 and going smaller, that's why Isiaah Jackson's out of the rotation. I think Carlisle has just realized that this team's best chances of winning so far right now has been playing smaller.
Hey, Brisset gave him pretty good minutes last night, too. All of a sudden I looked up, and I'm like, wait a minute, who's got 14? Oh, Oshae Brisset. And I love, Alex, guys that can score. I've always, I had a conversation the other day with somebody who worked in the NBA for a long time. And, and this is the kind of stuff where when you talk to people, you're like, man, you realize how nuanced sometimes things are. But he said to me, sometimes you need at least 40% of your scoring to come from guys that don't have any plays that orchestrate through them. So their points are auxiliary. And Oshae Brisset is kind of that guy, right? Maybe Rick Carlisle would disagree with me, but I don't know that they're running specific sets for Oshae Brisset. Just when the hot potato comes to him, if it's really, really hot, he kind of knows what to do with it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that Oshae, since he's gotten here to Indiana, back when Bjorkman was the coach and we brought him up from the G League, he's always been that guy. And that's kind of why fans, I think, were surprised that he wasn't getting playing time early in the season, because he wasn't part of the rotation. Now, we know this is a deep roster, but he's played himself into the rotation, and once again, Rick Carlisle can't get enough of him. Last year, he closed as a starter, and I just love the way that he keeps himself engaged and involved, because it's probably got to be tough going from ending the season as a starter to the next season not even being in the 10-man rotation. And I think Oshae Brisset has worked his butt off to get to the NBA, to be a competent NBA player. Honestly, he's the only true wing the Pacers have right now at 6'7". So it's one of those things where he needs to play because he allows him to be more versatile. And he just is that guy that's going to be able to muck things up a little bit. His shot has fallen well for him. I think that was a concern coming into the league. Is not known as a great three-point shooter, but he's proved that wrong. And, not afraid to put up a flashy dunk. And I just really like how he's played, and I'm surprised that they didn't come to an extension agreement with him in the offseason, because I really feel like you could have got him for cheap and had him on this team long-term. So I'm curious what their long-term plans are with him, since he's an unrestricted free agent this upcoming summer. But, yeah, I've loved how he's fit in so far, and I think when O'Shea's on the floor, good things usually tend to happen.
He's Alex Golden of the Setting the Pace podcast, joining us on Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Alex, I feel like at the beginning of the season, and even as recently as a month ago, we were talking about the possibility of both Myles Turner and Buddy Hield being dealt at the trade deadline. Now it seems like both might stay on the team, especially with the rumors that Myles Turner might be getting a contract extension. Do you think this team will still move one or both of them at the deadline, or if this team's in the playoff hunt, do you think they don't want to mess up with a good thing?
Yeah, this is a really tough question, and I know I talked with Jake about this on the podcast that we did for my blue and gold.
The one he sang on?
It was wonderful. My singing was phenomenal.
It was, and it was brought to you by Circuit City, where we're on our test work. But
Thank you.
Thank you. How dare you? We're having a good conversation.
I'm using this to stall because honestly, it's a really tough question. I mean, I think the Pacers are way ahead of schedule in terms of what they expected and what they anticipated this year to be. So that kind of does change things, but at the same time, I don't think it necessarily should, because if you do keep Myles Turner and extend him, and you have Jalen Smith, and you have Isiaah Jackson, you have Goga, Daniel Tice, you have way too many centers, you're going to have to make some moves. And I think the way they traded up to get Isiaah Jackson, it'd be kind of silly to punt on him so early. And the way they went out to get Jalen Smith, it's just really tough. It just feels like there's a crowded front court. And I'm always curious why certain things leak when they leak. I feel like the reason this information leaked about him potentially getting or being in contract negotiations here with the Pacers or extension talks is because the trade deadline is getting closer, February 9th. We're not that far away from it, believe it or not. And I think this is a way to let the people know that are trying to trade for Myles Turner, like, hey, the Pacers really value him. So it's going to take it's going to be a pretty penny to pay for Myles Turner. So I feel like they're a 500 team. I think by the end of the season, they'll probably be close to that at this point. It's been 35 games, so you can kind of understand what this team is. But I think you really have to think long and hard about this. If Myles does want to be here, I have no problem with the extension. I think he's fit in pretty well here. While he's not been as great as he was in November, December he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. He's still playing well. I'm not saying he's not playing good, but he's not having the crazy numbers he was having in November, probably the best month of his career. But I just feel like if you're going to bring him back, what do you do with one of Jalen or Isiaah? I think you got to potentially look at moving one of them, which is crazy to say, but with Turner getting extended, there's just not going to be enough playing time for him. I think that does crowd that front court. And then with Buddy, I kind of already hit on that earlier. So I think there's a chance that one of them is moved. I would predict more likely Myles if he does not want to re-sign with the Pacers and hit free agency, because we've said this from the beginning. They can't lose him for nothing. Myles has said that. So come February 9th, if they can't get a confirmation from him that he'll re-sign, they have to look to move him.
Alex Golden is our guest. Payless Liquors Hotline is where he is right now. You can hear his voice on the Setting the Pace podcast. Alex, a guy that, you had mentioned the Pacers have kind of arrived early, and I agree with that. I mean, I think they're ahead of schedule. One of the guys that I have really been pleasantly surprised by, and I didn't know a lot about him, but I wanted you to expand upon what you think of his game. Aaron Nesmith is one that plays defensively exactly as I think they needed, and he reminds me kind of what Solomon Hill was, in the fact that he can knock down a jumper if it comes his way, but his primary purpose is wing defense. But I feel like they still need another one of him to really cement themselves defensively. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I will say this. I was really excited for Aaron Nesmith coming into the season, and then, watching him play in October and the beginning of November, probably all the way up until the last week of November, he had really struggled. Wasn't hitting his threes. He just kind of seemed like he was out of control and didn't really know what his role was. But I think now that he's kind of settled into his role, he's playing with much more confidence and playing better. And I think Rick Carlisle praising him, saying he's exactly what you want from an Indiana Pacer player. He does whatever he's asked of. You're right. They need one more guy like that. And I think with him being just 6'5", they are going to need someone that's a little bit taller in the playoffs to guard bigger wings, because I do think while he's a great defensive player and arguably their best defender on the team, they still need one more guy like that to really muck things up and really be able to put some pressure on the other team's offense, because if you want to play good defense here in Indiana, you're going to need more Aaron Nesmith, because some of the defense I've seen from this team, specifically on the perimeter, has been hard to watch. So he's been awesome all of December and the last week of November. I think the Pacers found themselves a gem in him, and I like your Solomon Hill comparison, because he doesn't have to put the ball in the basket to be content, be satisfied with what's going on. He's just happy to go out there and help his team win. And I think when you can get true team players like that, especially young guys that fit around guys who need the ball, that's something that you can't overlook. Guys that are able to accept their role and know what they can do is huge. But at the same time, come playoff time, he's going to have to be able to knock down threes to be playable, because if he's somebody that you don't have to worry about guarding on offense for the Pacers, then that's where it can be problematic. And we've seen that before with other teams where it's just like you have a really good defender that can't put the ball in the hoop, so it makes it difficult. But I think right now Aaron Nesmith has been a really nice surprise for the Pacers.
You know, in the Setting the Pace podcast, and I mean, I will admit, I love me some me, so I would assume that you get a lot of listenership with that. Obviously, Alex, you do a great job covering the Pacers, but me, when I was singing Wham hits on your podcast, probably pretty decent numbers turned in just based off that, right? I mean, the reviews, I'm sure, were probably pretty good, right?
Yeah, I think they asked. Some people were messaging me saying, "Hey, can we get Jake on to sing some more songs?" And I said, maybe we'll do a YouTube live karaoke night with Jake.
I'm a terrible singer, but I can sing. George Michael was I loved George Michael, man. So I was happy to sing some George Michael. Yeah, I'm not very good at it, though.
Anything to feed the ego.
It was fun, you know?
I appreciated you singing. I mean, I can carry a tune a little bit, but I just wasn't going to do that on there. I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Well, for those curious, what it was you were asking us. We had some fun with it where we were doing it. I loved the kind of outside-the-box thinking on it, because that's kind of how I am, obviously. You were asking the Pacers roster if, with each player, if they were a Christmas carol, what Christmas carol would they be? So we had fun with that, and people can find it on the Setting the Pace podcast with Alex.
I got one more. Alex, the Pacers kind of wrapped the year, 2022, with a couple of tough games. The Cavs tomorrow night, and then New Year's Eve against the Clippers. They get a win in either of those games?
Oh, that's a tough one. Cavs are really good. They almost beat them at home, or in Cleveland, I should say. I think they'll get one. I say they go 1-1 in this one. They need to beat the Clippers. I think they got pretty embarrassed by them as well in Los Angeles to start their road trip, so that'd be a nice revenge game there. Especially, I'd like to see Turner have a great game there, especially after Zubac almost. Did he have 30 rebounds, or was it 29? I think he was 31 and 29, so he was one rebound shy of 30. I think they got to shut him down and get a revenge game there.
Hey, they had a good crowd last night. I mean, I was for a random Tuesday night. I realized that probably a lot of people some Christmas gifts, that kind of thing. But Alex had a good crowd last night, and I thought to myself, you know, I don't know if it's that the Colts are down or the Pacers are young and rising, but I think people are starting to kind of get into it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. I think fans are really excited about this team moving forward. They got a ton of likable guys, and they're playing fun basketball, and they're winning, you know, much better than it has been the last couple of seasons. And like you said, the Colts being as terrible as they are, it's a breath of fresh air. So I think it's great for the Pacers, and it's great for the city to see them rallying around a team that's, you know, really, really ahead of schedule, like I said earlier. I mean, I'm kind of shocked right now that they're at where they're at based on everything we heard from the offseason, but love to see it, and I love that Tyrese Halliburton has really stepped up and looks like a true all-star, potentially an all-star starter this season, and I think that's a big reason why the Pacers are where they're at today.
Alex, we always appreciate you picking up the phone for us. Appreciate the time as always. Thank you. Have a happy New Year, and we'll talk to you on the other side, all right?
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you.
Thanks, man. Alex Golden of the Setting the Pace podcast joining us on Kevin and Query. It's time now for Morning Checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown, brought to you by Ball State Basketball. Get your tickets at ballstatesports.com on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Well, we just talked Pacers with Alex Golden, so if you missed it, the Pacers got a 129-114 win over the Atlanta Hawks last night. Buddy Hield, 28 points, 9 rebounds. It was a very good night for Buddy Hield and the Pacers. They get above 500. They're looking pretty good. They take on the Cavaliers tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at the Fieldhouse.
By the way, I've always wondered this. A Cavalier.
Yeah.
I think of a Cavalier as like what do you think is the true definition of Cavalier? A Cavalier.
I mean, we're here to educate and entertain. So what it says right here,
I think personally of a Cavalier as being like, for some reason, I want to say like a pirate type image comes to mind, because I think there's usually a sword involved with a Cavalier. But is there a particular time period and or origin for Cavalier that makes it a Cavalier?
A supporter of King Charles I in the English Civil War.
Okay.
And then also a small spaniel of a breed with a moderately long, non-curly, silky coat.
Well, I don't believe that it's that. So there's a Cavalier Spaniel?
I guess so.
Now, do they have like kind of an indifferent opinion about things?
I don't know.
That actually is another definition. If you use Cavalier as an adjective, it's showing a lack of proper concern.
But is that spelled the same, or is that two
Yes, it's
E's?
spelled the same, but you're just using it in a different.
Well, there you go.
I like the idea of the Cavaliers being a team of people who just don't care, but they're on the court playing basketball.
They worked for the king, but they didn't care about him.
Right?
Right?
I guess I'll do this basketball thing. Don't really want to.
That sounded more Southern.
I know.
Do I need to do my British accent? Is
No,
that,
God. Oh, Lord. We almost got through the rest of the year without that coming
saying, for what it's worth.
Lord.
In college basketball, the Cavaliers of Virginia, that's not who I'm talking about, rather Ball State. They are 8-4. The Cardinals have won 4 straight. They are at home tonight where they are 4-0, taking on Chicago State. That is a 7 o'clock tip. Chicago State comes into the game, by the way, at 3-12. Last night in college basketball, Notre Dame 59-43 over Jacksonville. Notre Dame snaps a 3-game losing skid.
College bowl games. Buffalo beats Georgia Southern 23-21. Memphis over Utah State 38-10. East Carolina trounced Coastal Carolina 53-29, and Wisconsin over Oklahoma State 24-17. Got another 4-pack of games today. UCF takes on Duke at 2 o'clock in the Military Bowl. Kansas and Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl. Oregon and North Carolina in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. My God. And then Texas Tech and Ole Miss in the Texas Bowl.
I don't really understand why this credit union is sponsoring something if you could only get it if you're in San Diego County, right?
I don't know.
Like, what good? Who's playing in the San Diego County Credit Union Bowl?
15th-ranked Oregon and North Carolina.
Okay, so what good does it do if you live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, to open an account at the San Diego County Credit Union?
I have no idea.
That's a long commute to the ATM, is it not? You're paying a lot of $4 service fees there, I would think,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
East Carolina and Coastal Carolina, which one is in which state?
Oh, boy.
I believe East Carolina is the Pirates, right?
Yes.
Is Coastal Carolina the Chanticleers, or is that...
I believe that's correct.
Or is that Chaminade? But I'm going to guess that Coastal Carolina is in Myrtle Beach, and East Carolina, I believe, is in North Carolina. I'm going to say Fayetteville, North Carolina.
East Carolina is in Greenville, North Carolina.
Okay.
Coastal Carolina is in Conway, South Carolina.
Okay.
So there you go.
Which one would you rather go to?
I think Coastal Carolina.
I think you're right. You're on the coast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been to Myrtle Beach?
Have I? No, I think we were going to, and then we
Have
didn't.
you been in the Midway at the Indiana State Fair?
Yes.
Have you been to Indiana Beach?
Yes.
Okay, you've been
there.
Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Then, yes, that's correct.
I'd like to go to Due West, South Carolina, though. I've heard nothing but great things. Nothing but great things.
That's right. It's hard to find, though.
It is hard to find.
Your iPhone, you put it in Due West, North Carolina.
It turns into it turns into a who's on first. I'm trying to go Due West. Where's that at?
It actually implodes.
Yeah.
Your phone just shuts down and then says it needs an update, right?
It sends you on the canal.
That's right. Yeah.
The hell am I doing here?
You think that lady knows it's thawed up there? That's what the ice skaters said.
I just killed a brown trout with my tire.
We come back. It's time for the pop quiz coming up here shortly, right?
Yeah, 317-239-1070. Join the fun.
Do you think anybody's listening right now that can call in for the pop quiz? Can we get
someone wants an oil change? Someone needs it with the below freezing temperatures we had a couple days ago.
Oil change on the line for the pop quiz next. 239-1070. Give us a call.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Celebrate great savings at Mattress Firm's Dreamcember sale. Get a king for a queen price or a queen for a twin and save up to $700 on select mattresses.
Helzberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Did His Homework. When it came to Jill's engagement ring, Brady knew exactly what to get.
Okay, so I came up with a design and showed it to all of our friends.
She'll love it.
Then he went to Helzberg. Their incredible selection of high-quality, lab-grown, and natural diamonds made creating that special ring easy. Her reaction?
I love it. Can't wait to tell everybody.
Everybody might know about it.
Be like Brady. Create the ring of your dreams at a Helzberg near you or at Helzberg.com. Ask now about special financing offers.
NFL Wildcard Weekend is here. That's right, it has arrived. And the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers, join today to get started with $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code PLAY. So don't miss out. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, and West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming and Kansas or visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
Join Marc Patrick Seminars and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing. I don't have any cravings. You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Only $49.99 guaranteed. No irritability, no cravings, because don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. In addition, use hypnosis to lose all the weight and destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars are Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m., stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best in plumbing. That's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. 317-284-9526. Let's talk about 83 of free involving any drain in your home. Means LD Smith is going to come out, make sure your drains are clog free for $83 or the visit is free. That's 83 of free at 317-284-9526. The best in plumbing, Lance and his local team online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
You changed the head coach, same result. You changed the offensive coordinator, same result. You changed the quarterback, same result.
If you're talking about it,
The embarrassing performance.
This offense either is not very talented or is completely checked out.
We're talking about it.
Offense is absolutely horrific.
Just completely, inexcusably, embarrassingly flat.
3 different quarterbacks.
your home for indie sports. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
This has been 2.5 hours of quality radio, if I do say so myself. There's nothing better than this. Talking about people going in the canals on their car, figuring out where coastal Carolina and East Carolina are. You can't beat this entertainment right now.
You know, by the way, that I sent last night Scotty a fabulous trivia question.
And he didn't use it?
No, I wasn't. I asked it first. This was for personal use.
Oh. Whoa.
And he never responded.
Wow. He's ghosted you.
Do you want to know what my trivia question was?
Sure.
Or should I save it for
go
a
ahead.
rainy day on this program?
No, go ahead. Rainy day? That'll probably be like tomorrow.
True.
It's the Midwest weather, my friend.
There are 6. As a matter of fact, I'll ask this question as a precursor for whoever we select. How's that?
Okay.
Give me a number 1 through 8.
Let's go with Fast Fingers 1.
All right. Sam, that would be who?
That is Drew.
Drew, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. And yourself?
Pretty good. Just got to work.
I was going to say, are you working this week, Drew? It's kind of a weird week work-wise for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm working. I'm in service industry.
Okay, and you said you just got off work?
No, I'm going into work right now.
Going into
working at a restaurant.
Oh, that's cool. Are you what are you, like the cook, waiter, bartender, host?
I deliver food and make food. You know, just kind of do a little bit of everything.
Drew, how old a fella are you?
39.
39-year-old Drew. I'm going to lead you off, Drew, with a question that I came up with last night off the top of my head during my neuroticism and insomnia, which is a dangerous combination. This is not in any way, shape, or form going to score for you on the pop quiz for your chance for a Jiffy Lube oil change, but here we go. You ready? You and Marc can combo this. We'll do it in like 20 seconds. There are the Wooden Award is the annual award given to college basketball's top performer of the season. It is basically the basketball version of the Heisman. There are 6 people who have won the Wooden Award and also played for the Indiana Pacers. How many can you name?
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. I'm just going to go with like the 90s Pacers names like Rick Smits and Reggie Miller, John Cena.
John Cena.
Cena.
I'm gonna go. Wait. Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And then Sami Zayn.
I mean, you're speaking my language here.
Marc, do you have a guess on any of them?
I mean, I liked all those that he just mentioned. I don't know if any of those are actually on the Pacers, but
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns.
There you go.
All right. Well, stick with that.
We'll stick with the needle mover.
Sometime in the next day or so, I'll give the answer to all 6. All right, here we go. Would you like for me, that would be Jake, or would you like for Marc, your wrestling brethren, to help you out with question number 1?
I'm going to go with Marc.
All right, brother. Luka Doncic became the first player in the NBA history to record a 60-20-10 triple-double as the Mavericks beat the Knicks in overtime last night. Who was the last player in the NBA to have a 60-point, 20-rebound double-double? Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Anthony Towns, Karl Malone, or Wilt Chamberlain?
I'm just going to go with Shaq.
Nice.
Good guess.
All right, question number 2. Luka Doncic is just the 3rd player in NBA history with a 50-point, 20-rebound, 10-assist game. Wilt Chamberlain did it twice. Who is the only player to have, who's the only other player, I should say, to have a 50-20-10 triple-double? Was it Kareem, Russell Westbrook, Elgin Baylor, or James Harden?
I'm going to go with James Harden.
Okay.
Purdue and UConn are 1-2 again in this week's AP Men's College Basketball poll. Only one team other than the Boilermakers and the Huskies are undefeated in this week's AP Top 25. Name that team. Is it Miami, New Mexico, Mississippi State, or TCU?
I'm going to go with TCU.
All right.
Here's a question for you, Drew. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
I've only watched like the first episode or 2.
Okay.
Everybody hyped it up for me so much.
Do you know what state is known for allegedly having aliens because of a UFO that crashed there supposedly in the 50s?
I'm going to go with New Mexico.
Okay, all right. Question 3 goes to New Mexico. All right, question number 4. Austin Eckler scored a pair of touchdowns in the Chargers' win over the Colts on Monday Night Football. Eckler leads the NFL with 16 touchdowns this season after scoring a league-leading 20 touchdowns in 2021. Who was the last player to lead the NFL in touchdowns in back-to-back seasons? And by the way, his alma mater still has a chance to win the national title. LaDainian Tomlinson, Jerry Rice, Marshall Faulk, or Todd Gurley?
I'm just going to go with Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley, I saw walking into St. Elmo's when the Super Bowl was hosted here.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, that's Todd Gurley right there. And he looked and he waved. He didn't do anything else. He's like, who the hell's that guy?
Sure, he's thrilled.
Who the hell is that? I walked past Jerry Jones, too, and I wish I got smacked with $100 million, but I didn't. He's like, drop your credit card, Jerry.
What was that Colts Grill place downtown?
Colts Grill.
Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of 8 restaurants that place in the last 12 months.
The worst service in Indianapolis history.
That place has been,
That's why it was 86th.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
75 years ago today, put on your thinking cap. 75 years ago today, this team won its last NFL championship, starting the longest active championship drought.
So
Name
this is the
team.
franchise that has played the most consecutive seasons without a Super Bowl, right?
Correct, yes.
And they've moved a few times,
They
right?
moved quite a few times,
They played, at one point, they played in a city that had a baseball team with the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Then they moved.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. For warmer pastures, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the desert. Right?
Yep.
And
Sometimes the
state
fielder tracks a little.
Cardinals? Arizona Cardinals?
Oh, man. I was hoping you'd get it at some point.
Okay, here we go. Let's
Hang
see.
in there, Drew.
Let's see how Drew did. Question number 1. Luka Doncic became the first NBA.
My coffee.
Fair enough. First player in NBA history to record a 60-20-10 triple-double. He did it last night. Shaquille O'Neal, by the way, had the last player to have a 60-point, 20-rebound double-double.
We're going to go out of order here. Purdue and UConn are 1-2. Who's the only other unbeaten in the AP's top 25? New Mexico. He got correct.
Elgin Baylor, by the way, was the answer for question number 2. He had said James Harden. It was Elgin Baylor that was the correct answer. Todd Gurley and the Cardinals were the other 2 answers. So there you go. By the way, the 6th player, Scotty Johnson has walked in.
Thanks, Drew.
Did you see my text last night, Scotty? Have you been thinking about that? 6 Wooden Award winners have played for the Indiana Pacers. We're going to see how many Scotty Johnston can name right now off the top of his head. Tyler Hansborough is one. Do we have the ding? Ding. Buddy Hield. Nice. Number 2. Okay. TJ Ford, another random. That's 3. Scotty looked this up. He clearly looked it up. He cheated. He's had all night to look about it. Comes in here. You got 3 left. You want the schools? Sure. Kind of a giveaway. One of them, it's a big giveaway. Okay, 2 are still in the league. And 1 went back to coach at the place where he won the Wooden Award. Of the 3 remaining, 1 played for his father. Doug McDermott. You have 2 left. 1 returned to coach at his alma mater. And the other was an acquisition that people thought was going to put the Pacers over the top. And really the biggest contribution the guy made was he ran out of gas in his Ferrari on 465. Wayman Tisdale is a fabulous guess, not Wayman Tisdale. The correct answers, because this is obviously the best radio ever in the history of since Marconi invented the median. Chris Mullen. Well, can we? Yeah, I'm going to ding myself here.
You know the answer.
I was signaled for a ding.
I
so
know, habit. And the last one, Ohio State. Evan Turner was the last one. That's the easiest, the one that's the most like, really?
Yeah.
Then we can't forget Pacers all-star point guard John Cena.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course.
Of course.
Roman Reigns filling up the backcourt.
We'll come back and put a bow tie on all of it, probably mercifully at this point. It's Kevin and Query on a Wednesday, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today. Based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Celebrate the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Now through New Year's Eve, Diamonds Direct has extended our special holiday financing offer, giving you one last chance to pick that perfect ring and spread your payments over 3 years with zero interest. That makes an $8,000 engagement ring less than $225 a month. And yes, this includes all our world-class designers like Tacori and Viraggio, the premier names in bridal jewelry. The holiday rush is over, but Diamonds Direct selection is spectacular with dazzling, rare, precious diamonds in all shapes and sizes. Go see for yourself and enjoy one last week to take advantage of their special holiday finance offer. 3 years, zero interest financing on anything and everything. Start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. On approved credit.
Dan Dockage for Affinity Whole Health. Affinity is the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy, and I got to tell you, I see why. Since I started a testosterone replacement program with Affinity, my energy, mental focus, drive, everything is up, and the physical benefits are amazing. Check them out at feelgreatindy.com. Guys, you can improve the way you look, the way you feel. You can build muscle and lose fat. Affinity will give you the roadmap. Go to feelgreatindy.com. That's feelgreatindy.com.
Save big while being the hit of your New Year's Eve party with the help of Payless Liquors. 20-count Parrot Bay party buckets are only $9.99. Fireball yardsticks $34.99. And Truly Vodka 15-pack $7.99. And all 26 family-owned Payless Liquor stores have your bubbly. All varieties of Andre Champagne are $5.99 a bottle. Martini and Rossi is $9.99. And French Champagne Vive Clicquot is just $49.99. Don't pay more when you ring in the new year. Get more and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Hey, it's JMV, and I have your New Year's Eve plans locked down with Yacht Rock Review coming to the Mural Old National Center. Ring in 2023 with these smooth and incredible sounds, and the party is on with Yacht Rock Review. Tickets starting under $25. Log on for Yacht Rock Review, livenation.com today.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
Hey, it's JMV. Sometimes, too many times, bad things happen to good people. Good people get hurt or killed through no fault of their own. That's where Tony Patterson at Parr Ritchie Law Firm can help. Tony understands because he spent his career helping people just like you put their lives back together. He was honored by Best Lawyers as 2020's Indianapolis Personal Injury Lawyer of the Year. See if Tony can help you. The call is free, 317-269-2509, or visit parrinjury.com, Parr injury.com today.
The Pacers host the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Larry on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
16 minutes before the top of the hour on a Wednesday. It is a good-looking day outside. Hope that you folks have something fun planned. If you're working, and several of you are, we appreciate you making us part of your morning this morning on kind of that weird week in between the holidays. It's so weird anyway with, I'm 50 years old, so I've been on the planet for 50 holiday seasons, meaning I've been cognitively aware of probably 46 of them. And I always forget that Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are exactly 1 week apart, and I'm always like, is it 6 days or 7 days? Like I get all thrown off. But it still is weird. Like New Year's Day is Sunday, right?
Correct.
So Monday, January 2nd is clearly the most depressing day of the year, right?
It's the day that everyone will write 2022 on their checks or wherever.
Who writes checks,
I'm
Mark?
just saying somebody will write. Well, I have to write it down for like logs and all that stuff. I guarantee you I will write down 2022.
Right. I just, to me this week is weird because you as soon as, maybe I'm alone in this, but as soon as Christmas is over, literally by like 2:00 in the afternoon on Christmas Day, it's like, okay, like let's go. Like I love Christmas. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything building up to it. I love the nostalgia of it. I love the warmth of it, all of it. Okay? But as soon as it's like 2 p.m. on Christmas Day, I'm like, okay, let's just rip the page off and let's just get winter behind us now. And then you go through this week where you're like, wait a minute. I'm back on the treadmill after the holidays and we're plugging along here and I'm wading through this and it's still not even January yet.
Yeah, I feel like January is the worst month of the year because you're just like, let's get out of winter. Christmas is over, and now there's nothing really going on.
It is rough, man.
It's a transition month.
And you also know, like in February, it's not bad because you know that March is around the corner.
Right.
In January, you're just like,
yeah.
I mean, it's rough.
It's not great.
There's some Colts news happening this morning, correct?
Yes. So the Colts sent out a little under a half hour ago. We've signed cornerback Darrell Baker Jr. to the 53-man roster from the practice squad and placed cornerback Isiah Rodgers on season-ending IR.
What was the injury for Rodgers?
I don't know. I don't recall. But his season is done. He will not play these final 2 games, so his season is kaput. And another cornerback coming up from the practice squad for the Colts. And then other NFL news, the Commanders, despite being in the playoff race, thanks to Taylor Heineke for the most part, are going back to Carson Wentz as their starter to take on the Browns. So that's a lot of pressure on Carson Wentz's shoulders, if you ask me.
Carson Wentz, though, I believe Scotty is still here, so he can correct me if I'm wrong. The disclaimer that Carson Wentz had to take 70% of the snaps in order for the Colts pick coming back from Washington to stay a second rounder, I believe that's already passed.
That's
right?
long gone, I think.
Yeah, there's no chance of that. So it will be a third rounder that the Colts get in exchange for Carson Wentz. I wonder what the thought process is, or the reaction, probably a better word, is for Washington fans about that switch.
I don't think it's great. I don't think they're really... I mean, they were on death's door as far as playoffs were concerned with Carson Wentz under center, and then they turned the page to Taylor Heineke when Wentz went down with the ring finger injury, and he kind of turned their entire season around just the way he played. And didn't play bad either. I mean, yes, they lost to the 49ers, but I mean, he was 13 for 18 for 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He wasn't terrible. So, but they're rolling with Wentz now again. So,
but
it's a curious decision if you ask me.
Here's the thing.
You're hanging on to the 7th seed. You're clinging for life.
Carson Wentz is kind of like, and you can say this in either male or female, Carson Wentz is like the significant other that you meet at a bar or a party or whatever that's pretty attractive. And you're like, this is weird. Like I'm really into this person, and people are like, yeah, the last couple of breakups for them have been pretty bad, and I don't know what's going on, but like people seem to walk from it and like the break, and you're like, no, well, I mean, I'll change them. Like it'll be different with me. I'll change them, and then you get into it, and you're like, okay, yeah, now I see why this person was available. And with Carson Wentz, I do think he's a talented guy. And I remember saying with JMV at the beginning of last year, probably 4 or 5 weeks in, saying, you know what? I think I was wrong on this guy. Like, I think he looks like he can be the guy. He's mobile. He's big. He's got a good arm. There were a lot of things I liked about him. But Indianapolis soon found out what clearly Philadelphia did, which was there's something about him that we don't want to make him the guy. And, I've heard stories of just none of it being egregious, like he's a terrible human being type stuff, but just little things about Carson Wentz, Mark, that
turn people off a little bit,
where you're just like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
All of us have in a workplace, sometimes the boss will send an email that says, hey, it's not mandatory, but we're going to have cake and ice cream in the break room for the owner's birthday on Wednesday at 1. And you're like, okay, I mean, it's not mandatory, but like, it's kind of like,
getting nudged in my ribs a little bit.
Correct.
I feel like I should go to the kitchen now.
Probably would be smart of me to attend such a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that there were certain things when it came to the top brass of the Colts that were just kind of an understood that you should do that Carson Wentz did not. When the people that are signing or determining the amount of your paycheck are standing outside the locker room and you come out of the locker room, you probably should stop and acknowledge them or say hi. Little things like that. Doesn't make him a bad person. I just think that Carson Wentz maybe grew up really sheltered. And Washington, I believe, probably thinks or thought, like Indianapolis did, like, we can change him. He'll be different here because he does have physical attributes. And I don't, again, I want to make clear because I realize he became a polarizing figure because of the vaccine, which it's a whole different talk show for really, thankfully, I think at this point, kind of a bygone era. But, he just put himself in position to be scrutinized here.
He should have changed his name to Buddy Wentz, and then he'd be everybody's friend, much like Buddy Hield.
He's just everybody's buddy.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's all you ask
You know
for.
what they say about Buddy Hield?
What?
You need a buddy.
There you go.
Who doesn't need a buddy? Right?
I could use one right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody needs a buddy.
People are saying that Snickers coffee is solid. I tend to agree, by the way.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, so so for those that are just joining this from where have you been? This morning when the show began, Marc had mentioned that he was drinking Snickers coffee.
Still am.
Now, is this a brand of coffee that is simply flavored as Snickers, or is the Snicker folks making coffee now?
No. It's the donut shop. They're a pretty popular Keurig brand, so you get that, and they have a Snickers coffee. I think they have a Cinnabon coffee. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. So they got a smorgasbord of
the Keurig
of
is the little plastic cup that you put in, and then you press it and like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And how long does it take to make a cup of coffee?
Oh, I mean like 30 seconds.
Okay, and then that little cup, the little plastic dealio, that makes a full how many ounces?
12
cup
ounces.
Of coffee? A 12-ounce cup of coffee, and so you can buy it. You don't have to buy the Keurig brand.
No, I mean you have to buy one that works with a Keurig, but yeah, you don't have to buy Keurig brand coffee.
Okay. And then now a while ago, weren't people throwing those out because they got sideways with them politically? Wasn't that the thing?
I don't know if it was politically as much as environmentally, because the K-Cups are, not the best for the environment.
Yeah.
I don't think the group that was challenging people to throw those out, though, were the environmentally aware folk. Right?
That part I may not be aware
I
of.
thought it was Rush Limbaugh that was telling people to throw out their Keurig.
Oh boy, I don't know. I know what rabbit hole we're
not
going
recently.
Oh boy.
Good point, Sam. Good point. I thought that was right. Maybe it was, but anyway, I know that people are wild about the Keurigs. And so you buy the Snicker brand.
Well, I bought it because it was on sale at Kroger. They had
don't they have an Almond Joy?
On.
Do they have an Almond Joy?
No, they had. What did I see? I don't know. They do what they had Heath Bar. I thought I saw. They had Cinnabon, the Krispy Kreme.
That Marc, you're not drinking real coffee, bud.
That's,
you're drinking.
It's from a plastic.
You're drinking like hot chocolate.
No, they sell hot chocolate too, though. They're Swiss Miss. I saw Swiss Miss on sale.
For a taste test comparison, Marc, why not tomorrow drink standard brand, whatever brand coffee, but not Snickers based?
Original blend Dunkin' Donuts. How about that?
Eat a Snickers bar while drinking the coffee.
That's
see which one is the better flavor profile.
How about just buying a Snickers bar and dunking it inside your regular coffee?
But
and
then you got the
melt?
peanuts in there and all that stuff. This is peanut free right
There's
here.
Nothing worse than a melty Snickers.
Around.
Do you have nut allergies?
No.
Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't I go and buy a thing of the Death Wish coffee that's got 1,500 milligrams of caffeine and see if you can drink a 12-ounce cup of it tomorrow?
Boy, you better have the ambulance on ready.
I mean, that sounds like it would be a bit much, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm concerned for myself just thinking about that. I can't even imagine you drinking it. You said you blended it with Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Oh, I mean,
it sounds horrible.
No. Like, it's literally, there's hardly any in there because...
Hardly any in there. You went over it. You said it's like 1,500 things of caffeine in
so
like
what
an ounce.
I did is I bought like the bag of Dunkin' Donuts breakfast blend coffee, like ground coffee, right? Then I bought a small bag of the highly caffeinated coffee, and I put into a container. I dumped into the container that I scoop my coffee in the morning. I dumped the entire bag of the Dunkin' Donuts, and then put like 4 scoops of the highly caffeinated and mixed it all in.
And you made 1 cup of coffee out of all that?
No. Like each morning I make a cup of coffee out of this concoction. So in other words, I have a thing of ground coffee.
Oh, okay.
10% of it is the highly caffeinated. It's mixed in
Gotcha.
with the other. So I'm getting
That's a fancy boy coffee machine. I have my own grounds.
Breaking Bad formula.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, look, you ain't dealing with a champion. I mean, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, brother.
I guess so.
You know, that's how I do things. You got to go all in. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right.
Well, that's putting a bow on this show, I guess.
Jake is excited. What do we got tomorrow, Mark?
Tomorrow is Thursday, so I'm assuming we're going to have Zach Kiefer and Scott Agnes as the usual on. Might try to get a Giants beat report on if we want to discuss Colts Giants coming up on Sunday, the penultimate game of the Colts 2022 season.
Mercifully.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's almost over, folks.
Mercifully. And then ending with the Houston Texans, who, by the way, yesterday, if you missed it, even though he's not a Texan now, J.J. Watt announcing his retirement at the age of 33 at the completion of the NFL season. I got into a furious debate on where he ranks with defensive players historically in the NFL. You folks have a great day. We'll talk to you at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.